Hello, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? So, of course, I lost power again. I didn't lose power. I lost the internet again. It was really frustrating because I have power and I have my phone internet. So the big question is why aren't we using the phone internet for the house? If anybody knows how to do that, please email me where I can plug my phone in and not lose the internet. Is it a huge deal? Well, like here, this is so much easier. I can show you things on my phone that I can give you that I can't. If I'm on my phone, I can't get off of YouTube to go to the things I show you here and share with you. So that makes it very frustrating. And it's just frustrating. And then, of course, you're paying for it and you'd like to get your discount. Well, I lost 3 days. I lost 6 days of internet. I'm paying for 30. Why, wait a minute. I'm really only using 24 days. So then there was things I wanted to do on my laptop that I couldn't do because I couldn't get to the internet. And even Saturday, I was going to go to the library, and that was closed because they lost power, and the club lost power Saturday. So I went Friday early to the club, and then it was still open, and then Saturday it was closed, and yesterday it opened back up in the morning. So I was able to go to the club yesterday, and then we'll see what happens today. Now, let's talk gold jewelry versus gold. Gold jewelry, I have to figure out what the fuck's going on with that because I don't like what I'm seeing with the gold jewelry. So I showed you my ring. I showed you my ring and my bracelet. And I thought I knew what I was getting for them. Now, I went to the jeweler's Friday, so I knew the weight, 23.4 grams for the bracelet, 9.6 grams for the wedding ring. So I understood that. So, like here, this is not all gold. It's mostly gold. This is 18 karat gold. The gold coins are full gold. They're like 90. That's why they're 9999. It's all gold. So you can price an ounce as an ounce. So what this means is this weighs 36.6 grams, which is 1.2910 ounces. But it's 18 karat, so we have to take the carat out of it. Or we have to take the non-gold out of it. So from 24 to 18 is 70. So this is 75% gold, 25%, I assume, copper, brass, silver, whatever else they put into it. So what my problem is, and I'm going to get there. Let's see. So what you have is this. This is the little marker of how the hell do you get. You notice there's 24 karat gold gram price and a 14 karat gold price. Or gold a gram price. So If your weight's gram and you got a 14 karat gold, you got 58%. 58% of your gold bracelet is gold and the rest is that. So the first thing you're doing is I'm taking this, which I know is 129. Let me change this to 24 karat. Oh, I got to change it to 18 karat. So 18 karat is 75% pure gold, right? 24 divided by 18 is 3/4 of it. But if you look at the price, the 24 karat gold's 59. This is still updating. This is in grams, so we need it in ounces. No, this isn't moving. Come on. What the fuck? This is one fucked up website. Let's try this other one. All right, so this is calculating the cost of gold jewelry. Is there a rule of thumb? So you have to understand that they're double dipping us. Not only, so I'm taking the gold out of this, which gets me from 36.6 grams to 1.29 ounces, but 18 karat, which means I got to lock it. Hey, Bobby Bo. Yeah, I mean, we got 10 inches Friday night. I went to the club Friday at about 2 as I saw the snow coming down. I went early and we got 10 inches. By Saturday, we were okay, but then we lost power and internet, and I think everything's back now. Well, okay, we're talking about the selling of the jewelry now. No, it's not. Well, kind of, but it's a trick. I wasn't happy. In other words, this if an ounce of gold is 1850, and this is 18 karat, and it weighs 1.29, I got to take the 1.29 times 0.75 to get the bullshit out that isn't gold, right? That's what 18 karat means. It's 18 carats of gold, and the rest is non-gold in here. So when I did that, let me walk you through the equation. Because this gets a little frustrating because I thought I was going to get a lot more money than I did. All right, so let's take the necklace. So it's the ratio is 0.75, so it's 18 karat to 24. And I'm on my spreadsheet, so I'll look at your chat in a minute. So the necklace now goes from 1.291 to 1.116. So there's over an ounce of gold in this thing. Now this should be 0.75. This is 1291 times 0.75. So this is 0.968 ounces, this ring. Which means it's almost a full ounce of gold. Yet I wouldn't use the 1855 price. I'm going to use the price of what the 3/4 ounces. I'm trying to find that. Well, I'll walk you through this. This is very informative. I'll give you this website, but there was a formula that the page I went to is like kind of fucked up. So in other words, instead of just taking the weight of this times 1850, I would get 1347. But that's not the way it works. Let's see. So the way that this crazy thing works is like this. Now let me get back to the site, so I'm sure I'm showing it to you. To me, it's like a scam going on. So even though the price of gold is, well, let me get this to ounces. So the price of gold, if we look at this, so if it's 24 karat, which is what our coins are, it's the 1849.82. However, if it's 18 karat, it's 1387.37. So what they're saying is, so this is the price you use for this gold chain and my ring is 1387, not the 1800, which makes no sense because you're backing out the extra gold. So if I just took the total, that would make perfect sense to me. If I took total bracelet times 1387, that would be the profit. But I'm taking this down from 1.29 ounces to 0.96. But then I'm not multiplying it by 1849. I'm multiplying it by 1317. So let's get to that. So it's 1387. So this price times that versus that. So I'm going to show you. I don't know if you can, I don't know what you can see on this. All right, so I'm going to tell you. what I thought was happening is if because this is almost 1 ounce on the necklace, it's 0.968. I times it by 855 and it'd be worth 1796. However, they're fucking us, or I have to understand why they're fucking us. It's 0.968 times 1387, because that's the 18 karat price of gold, which would make this 1342, not 1796. So we lose roughly $400 fucking dollars because they're double dipping us. So if I'm backing out this and saying times it by, so 1.29, if I did 1.29 by 1387, I could understand it. But if I'm doing 1.29, taking out the non-gold, getting down to 0.96, then why the fuck am I not using the 1850 ounce of gold? Right? Why am I using the 1387 ounce of gold? Because it's 18 karat. So this is the question I don't understand. So we're losing, well, basically, if it's one, we're losing like almost $500, roughly we're losing $500. And that's what I need to understand. So where I'm thinking I'm getting back, so I thought I was getting back, let's say this is 2000 and it's 75%, I'm getting 1500. Well, I'm not, because I'm going to use this 18, I'm going to get 1387, not 1500. So I got to ask, so the guy at the store, the owner I talked to a month ago about this, says, well, just curious, what is it? So he says, well, if it's an ounce of gold, it would be that. It would be 2,000 an ounce times 75% to get the non-gold out, and then you get 1,500. But why am I? So I'm getting down to the real gold value, which actually is like 0.96. But why aren't I using the 1,800 an ounce? Why am I using this 18 karat ounce, or the 14? If it was 14 karat, it would be 1,079. So I assume they're taking the ounce and they're saying, well, this is only 14 carats, so we're going to divide it out. And so really but then I'm also taking the weight down. So if this is an ounce, why the fuck isn't this 1850? So I'm going to go back to the jeweler to find that out. So here's what I thought I was going to get on my bracelet. It was 23 grams, which turned out to be 0.825 ounces at 14 karat. I thought I was going to get 890 because I times it by 850, but that's not what you times it by. You times it by 14 karat, which is 1,079. So now it's 0.825 times 1,079, and oh no, it's 0.825 is 23.4, but that includes the non-gold. So what you're doing is you're getting down to the gold. You're taking the non-gold out. So it's 14 karat. So 0.825 ounces for the bracelet is not really all gold, right? So you're taking the non-gold out. That's what the 14 karat is. So it's 0.825 times 14 karat times the 0.58. And then it's, so now you get what the gold is. So let me give you that. Let me walk you through that. So here's the bracelet. So 0.58 is 14 karat. I have 8.25, which the total weight of the bracelet, taking the 14 karat, so it's 0.825 times 58 gives me 0.752. And then at the 1,082 instead of the 1,840, I walk away with 474 instead of the 813. So had it been, okay, I've taken the non-gold out, now times it by the gold, but that's the gold, I guess, per ounce, which is because we don't do it with coins, right? The coins are 1-to-1. So it really doesn't make sense, because in the coins, what you're doing is saying, well, I'm buying a half ounce. And if I'm buying a half ounce, it's still at the ounce, right? So there, if I buy a half ounce and it's 2,000 an ounce, I'm paying $1,000 for it. Okay, makes sense. But why isn't it the same with jewelry? Well, I guess because it's 1 ounce. It's $9.99. So I guess that's the difference. I'm actually buying an ounce of gold, so they give me the ounce of gold price. So something is, if I buy 18 karat or 14 karat, then I've got to find out, and I will answer this for you. I will go to the jewelers right after this, and I will try to figure out what the fuck, why are we double dipping? I mean, if I'm already taking the gold out, why am I going to the 14 karat price? I mean, why am I losing money in the price? So that's the other thing, which doesn't make sense. So my bracelet, which was 23.4 grams, I multiplied it. So 23.4 grams, and you times it by 31.1, get you to 82.54 total weight. And then you times it by 0.58, which is 14 karat to 24 karat. So that got me to 0.752. Now, then you got to go here, and you're looking at the 14 karat price, which is $1,079. And when you do that, it's it should be this. So let's see. Okay. Now the weight's 752. Okay, that's what I need to do. So if I times 0.58 times 0.75, that's okay. Gets me to 0.43 amount of gold. So the bracelet goes from 23.4 grams to 0.82547, which is actually not right. It's actually 0.752 because it's 31.1 grams to an ounce. I thought it was, when I go on here, it said 28.34. But that's grams to gold, but not in metals. In metals, it's 31.1. So there's scams all over. How can a fucking gram be 28.34, but in metals, it's 31.1? So anyway, when I multiply 14 karat by the total weight of 0.752, gets me to 0.438. And then that amount times the 1,082 price takes it down to 474. And I got basically 510. I got 515. So I know it's a little confusing that I'm a mathematician, so it's very confusing to me. So basically, you're walking, first you got to convert grams to ounces. Then you got to take out that it's 14 karat gold, which is 14 out of 24. That's why I do the 18 karat. The 18 karat's easier. It's 3/4, right? 18 out of 24. So you've got to take the carats. You got to, because it's not a full ounce. So you go, oh, I got this fluff in the necklace, in the ring. It's not 100% pure gold like the coins are. Well, the coins are like 99%, right? So in what we just talked about, the bracelet, 23.4 goes to 0.825. Then it's 14 karat. So that means it's not a full 24 karat ounce like the coins are. It's only 14. It's half, it's 0.58 gold in the whole bracelet. So we take that and get it back down to how much gold is in the bracelet, which was like 0.43. But here's where I'm struggling is why the fuck aren't we using the 1850, timesing it by 1850? All right, this is how much gold we have left, times it by 1850. But no, we're timesing it by this 14 karat rate of 1,079, not the 1850. And that's where my problem is why aren't we timesing it by 1850? So that gets me down to like 515 is what I got for it. So here I think in the bracelet I'm going to get $800 because I'm timesing it by the spot of 1855, not 1,000. That's why I didn't get 890. I got 515. So instead of buying, my point was to buy a half. He had a half ounce and quarter ounces. He didn't have any silver, Bobby. He didn't have any. He only had the Liberties at 35. He didn't have any of the bullion. He had some real shit looking ones that people are bringing in that he probably isn't paying a lot for, because then he'll say, oh, the conditions. So first, I didn't understand the jeweler. The jeweler gives me 545. The coin store gives me 515. And because they were both a similar price, I thought, okay, I'm missing something, but that looks fine. And this is a high end, this Tapper's jeweler, they're very high end. I got my wedding ring in 1990 from them, and now they just moved a mile down the road. So I'm sitting there going, okay, if they both came out with the 515, then that's right. So I end up getting what did I get? I ended up getting a half ounce for $10.95. I ended up getting $7.75 total for my gold, my bracelet, and my ring. The ring was very small, 9.6 grams, which is 33 ounces, which then I had to take it down to reduce it by the 18 karat, by the 0.75 to get to the actual gold in the ring. And then again, where I'm messing up, I'm assuming that it's 1855 spot, not now an 18 karat, it's 1387. So it's a higher quality of gold. We'll find that out. Don't worry. But that's what it is. So your jewelry, now I paid $550 for this in 1995. Apparently it's worth $1,100. It's apparently a full ounce, but you're not going to value it at 18 karat, at 24 karat. You're going to value it at 18 karat because this is 18 karat. This is what they used to use in the early and mid 90s was 18 karat, and my ring's 18 karat. Now everything's at 14 karat or 10 karat. Please be aware, if you are buying jewelry, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your kids, your parents, now they're scamming. Where this was 18 karat, right now I've seen 10 karat. And it's funny is after that, I started thinking, would I have been better off instead of now the ring, I didn't care. I wanted to get rid of it. And I don't know how anyone else is going to buy it. The bracelet, what went through my mind is, should I have sold the bracelet back to the jewelers as is? Because I got $515 for the bracelet, which I guarantee you they sell for $1,500. And I will ask that question. So you sold the jewelry to the coin guy? Yes. I sold the jewelry for a half ounce. The half ounce was $10.95. The jewelry got me $7.75. So for roughly $300, I got a half ounce. The ring I was never going to wear. That was from my marriage. And my idiot wife got half gold and half like white gold. And I asked the jeweler, and she said, no, white gold and gold, there's no difference in value. So I didn't get screwed because it was white gold, except for I like gold, you know. So I was going to buy, initially, I thought I'd buy a half ounce and 20 ounces of silver because I thought I was going to get back like 1,300. But when I got back, I was going to get 1,364. But the way I got screwed, I only got 775 because they don't use the spot price. They use the spot price for 14 karat or 20 or 18 karat. So I'm losing value in the spot for some reason, which makes no sense. Okay, so you have 9.5 ounces of gold now. 9.5? I got a little bit more than 9.5. I'm almost at 51. It's like 51.05. I'll tell you why. Bobby, what are you talking about? 9.5 ounces of gold. Bobby, you on drugs already? I'm at like 50. Where are you getting 9.5? That might be in the, you know. So it was getting rid of the jewelry versus the coin. So as I said, I've got to understand why that. So the question is, would I have been smarter to sell them back the bracelet? It's the place I bought it, the high-end place. I bought it. She tested it for gold. Yes, it's gold. So that is, so would I have gotten more than the 545 she was offering for the gold? Then I got to see, would I have been after going to the coin store at 515, should I went back to the jeweler and I didn't ask the jeweler, so will you give me 545 for it? Or will you give me I'll give you the whole thing. Don't give me the gold price. Give me the sales price because you're going to sell it for 1,500. Maybe you would have given me 900 for it because you could just put it out and sell it for 15 because it's older, it's thick gold. I mean, and it's all real. So where it's 23.4 grams, you're probably selling a lot less than that. So that's the other thought that I was just like, I want to trade it in and get a gold coin. This is what clouds your thinking sometimes. Instead of thinking that's not what I want to get the most value for it. It's an asset. I didn't get any value for the non-gold price of it and the fact that it was the labor to make it. So you're paying for the labor, the price of the other shit, and then to sell it plus the gold in it. So all I got was the gold out of it. But had I sold it back to her, and I guarantee her she'll say, yeah, we would have given you more, but she should have suggested that. So you're paying for all the material and the labor that they've already done. They don't have to redo. So you could have just put it out. You could put it out, probably got 1,500 or at least. And like, so this is probably 2,000. I paid 500 for it. So this I'll never sell because this is my master's present. I got a master's. I got this. So this is kind of like the WWF belt. There's nothing, you can't take it away from me. I got it no matter what. I got the master's belt. So that I'm never selling. I'll tell Jenna what to do with it. At the point, I'll say, you keep it or whatever, but she'll probably keep it, but not to. So you got to be careful with your gold jewelry. It might be better to sell them back because it's already made, labor's already in it, and the other material's already in it. Now, at the place I took it, they'll probably melt it down, although he might sell it. I might go into tomorrow and he's got it sitting there for $1,500 and I'll cry, but he probably will sell it too. Now, the ring, I don't know. I guess you melt it down. I don't know. First, I thought he was charging me for melting costs and other issues, but he's not. Why they double dip you, I don't know. It's $1,850 for gold. I got a half ounce of gold. Why isn't it, why is it then, well, we can't give you the full ounce price of that. So I think our coins are fine because that'll always be in the full ounce. It's the jewelry. And you're probably not buying 18 karat now. You're probably buying 10 karat. So keep that in mind. So you almost want to go in with 10 karat is 770. So that's probably what you want, right? The 10 karat. where the hell is it? Right here. So that's 770. So when you go to buy jewelry, if you buy it, just assume, well, it's 770 for the gold, then you're paying for the guy to make it, the labor, and the other material used, because it's not all gold. But that's where you're going to get fucked, because you're thinking, oh, the price is gold's at 10,000 an ounce. You think, oh, I'm going to get 10, it's a half ounce, I'm going to get $5,000. You're not. They're going to fuck you, because they're, after you take the gold out, then they're going to not use the ounce price. They're going to use the 18 karat price, or the 14 karat, or the 10 karat price. And that's where we get fucked. So that's what I don't understand. So I don't know. I'm assuming it's like the coin, right? It's a half ounce of coin. It's $2,000. It's 1,000. Or here it's 1,100. It was 1095. So that's what I'm thinking the jewelry would take. But I knew it wasn't like, I know this isn't full gold. It's 75% gold. So I know that. So it was a very important lesson. So I will come back with part 2 when I go to the jewelers now, is do I sell you do I sell the bracelet or the ring back to you? Probably not the ring. Who wants my wedding ring? But the bracelet, they could probably put it right back on the shelf and sell it. They were going to give me $545, and they'd probably sell it for $1,500. So for them, they would do that. So that's the question. But I thought I got screwed. I got to understand this whole carat price better, because that makes no sense to me that you're not selling it at the ounce price. That's for an ounce of gold. But see, because what they're doing is they're actually saying, oh, okay, it's 1849. So 18 karat, we're going to times it by 0.75, which is the same ratio, which is 1387. And that's what we're going to, well, no, the ounce of gold, it's confusing, because they're taking it down to 18 karat, the ounce price to the 18 karat price, because they're not getting an ounce, but it's confusing. Anyway, I thought I got screwed a little bit. I don't remember. I think the bracelet was a gift. This I know I bought for $550, and I know it's worth $1,100 now. So it'll go up in value. But again, I'm trying to figure out why I'm not getting this will end up being an ounce, but it's 18 karat. So it'll be, well, I'm not going to sell this, but if you have a jewelry that you want to sell, is it better to just sell the whole piece back? And we know it's 18 karat or 14 karat, and it's in grams, so it's 23 grams or whatever. So that. So you go, well, if I just get the gold out of it versus selling the whole piece. Now, if it's sellable, it's inventory, it's gold inventory to them, they'll get another sucker who doesn't understand it. So in my defense, the ring was my wedding ring, so I didn't even buy it. The ex bought it. It was like matching. It was matching rings. And the ex bought me like the bracelet for my birthday. So neither of them were worth it. Okay, Bobby, I'll get to you. So you sold gold to yes, I sold the gold to the coin guy to get a half ounce. So it was a trade. So it was the jewelry plus $300, and I walked out with a half ounce U.S. Liberty for $1,075. Okay, so you have 9.5 ounces. No, 50 ounces, Bobby. The profit, the perpetual at 10. Okay. So you think that you have gotten more money for your bullion. I thought the professor said he had 9 ounces of gold. Sorry, Bobby Bo might be way off. No, I don't know where you're getting 9 from. It was 50, right? I hit 50 about a month ago. I don't know where you're getting 9. So how about when we sell our metals? For example, silver is at 1,000. We won't get the whole 1,000 per ounce. How much would we get more or less? No. We would get the whole. We will get the 1,000, because the coins are different. The coins are 0.99. So they're not in carats. They're not 14 karat. They're not 18 karat. They're 24 karat, basically. Well, I don't even know if it matters if there's carats with the coins. The coins are 0.999. So when silver's 1,000, we walk in with our silver, bullion or eagle or kangaroo or cougaran, we get $1,000. There won't be this mess because it's not in carats. I believe only jewelry is in carats because they need other materials to make it. And yes, you're right. They need other materials to make the silver and the gold coins, but they're not in carat. I guess at the end of the day, when you buy the 1 ounce of silver, even though there's other things in it, you're still getting 1 ounce of silver. So that doesn't really change. Right? Avocado time. I hate when the golf ball and the avocado gets all avocado-y. Everything gets stuck. So you'll get the full 1,000 for your ounce of silver because A, it's an ounce, and B, it's really not carats. So it's just sold as an ounce, and it's 999 or 997 or whatever. So you will get the full value because you actually have an ounce of silver. Here, the difference is it's not made with 24 karat gold, and they use 18 karat or what. So the difference with the jewelry is like 18 karat, right? So this is 18 karat. Gold and silver is not in carats. It's an ounce of gold. It's a half ounce of gold, but there's no carats involved. So yes, my half ounce, if gold's 20,000 an ounce, I got a half ounce, I get 10,000. I'm going to go to the jewelers and I'm going to double check all this, but that's how it's being told to me by the guys at the coin store in my research. I mean, look at him. He sells the half ounce for $10.95. That's what it was. And there's no mention if it's the carats. So I believe the carats is just jewelry. Good question. I will check that out. But and it really won't matter. Cougarans, Maple Leafs, U.S. It might be different on like you won't pay, supposedly you won't pay $10.99 on the U.S. gold, but I remember reading that I wouldn't pay it on any of the gold. It was all exempt, the Maple Leaf and the Cougaran. I just believe, but we'll find that out. Who knows? But I believe I read that. So, but a Cougaran ounce and a Maple Leaf ounce and a U.S. ounce is all 1 ounce of gold. There is no carats involved, and I will find more about that when I go to the jewelry store. Let's say the Naji, a friend or family member that asked me what is gold and silver bullion and how would I explain it? Well, that would be the bars, the gold bars, right? So if you bought a little Credit Suisse 1 ounce little bar, that's bullion. The rest are actual money. So if you look at the U.S. Gold Eagle, it's $50. If you look at the Philharmonic, it was 100 euros. If you looked at the Maple Leaf, I think it was 100 Canadian. So they have actual value. So they're actual money, but you would never take the value on the coin. You would always take the value of the gold. So like on the silver dollar, U.S. silver dollar, what does it tell you? Right. So the U.S. silver dollar says it's worth $1, but why would you ever sell it for $1 when the silver is worth, and now it's worth 25, right? So why would I get $1 when I can get 25? So it's the same with gold. The gold value on the U.S., if you look at a gold coin, says $50. Well, why would you take 50? It's worth 2,000. So that's what the difference is, but it's never really going to come into play. You don't care that it's currency versus bullion. You're buying the value, the ounce of silver, the ounce of gold. That's what you're buying. So I walk away with silver that isn't really money because it doesn't say it's worth $1. So the Liberty Eagles are $1, and then the bullion buffaloes are no value, but they're 999 1 ounce of silver. So in effect, it's not money, but you're never going to use your silver for $1. It's going to be worth a lot more. So that's really the difference. So you're going to be sitting there at not doing it, but the bullion basically is silver that is not currency. Well, it's not money. Let's differentiate. This is currency, fiat. Silver and gold is money. So the money, you'll never use the monetary value of it, of $1 or $50 for a gold ounce. You'll never use that. I think a quarter ounce is $10. Well, you'll never, I mean, it's worth right now, it's almost $600. Why would I take $10 for it when it's worth $600? So if I went to Canada right now, they would accept my silver maple leaf at a restaurant or store. Yes, I would think they would. You can do it here. I mean, I can go to the barbecue place, and if I gave him a silver maple leaf, the guy would take it. He just wants to get an ounce of silver. So you don't need to go to Australia for your kangaroo and go to the Philharmonic, go to Austria for that. They'll take it here. You go to the coin guy, he'll do it. But you could, but I don't give the barbecue place my silver. He will take it, but I won't give it to him because it's worth a hell of a lot more than the $25 that I could use it for. And again, when the shit hits the fan and it's worth $2,000 an ounce, well, let's say $1,000 an ounce, I wouldn't buy ribs for $1 silver. And then the Jenna question is, well, how do we get change for it? No, you have to exchange it in. So you go to the coin guy, he gives you $1,000, and then you take 25 and you give him for the ribs. And then you have the other 900 that you're going to use to spend. So as you need money to spend, you're cashing it in to get, but you're only cashing in 1 ounce. There's no reason to cash in 20 ounces at $1,000. That's $20,000 if you don't need the 20,000, because then you're stuck with this, and you don't want to be stuck with this. That's the whole point of the class, is to get rid of this. So you're going to so you only sell your ounce when you need some of this. It's like I leave a couple thousand in the bank, right? And when I do, it's to pay the bills. If I'm not leaving 10 grand in the bank, I'll get paid Wednesday Social Security, and I will, at that point, I will have 3,000 in the bank, and that's it. And then I'm going to spend it in rent and everything else, and then I'll get paid the next, month, and then so that money will be used for rent and food and stuff like that. But you don't want to leave a lot in the bank. So they're going to be what's called bail-ins. So bailouts is the Federal Reserve or the government bailing out the banks that are falling. This is the whole Madoff Ponzi scheme with banks. So you bring in money and they give it out. They don't keep it. They don't have your money in. It's like Social Security. There's no Bobby Bonilla, there's no Howard Robbins money. We don't have an account with our money that we've been putting in for years and years and years. We Bobby, you're paying me, I'm paying your dad, and everybody's paying somebody else. It's the stupidest thing in the world. We should all put it into our own account, which gives you more incentive to work and more incentive to make more money, But even more would be if we didn't have this stupid thing, and then that would be another 7.65% I'd have in my savings. So it'd be even more gold and silver I could have, because I would take the extra money and, buy more stuff with it than losing it and then trying to get it on this end. What do how long am I going to live? And then, I'm 90 years old. I'm going to get 2,300. At that stage, it'll be worth like $5. But that's what the banks do, right? So you walk in with a $10,000 deposit, it's gone. Boom. And it goes, they loan it out, or if somebody else comes in to want money, it goes to them. Your money's no longer there. I have 10,000 in the bank, kind of. If I went in, they would see my balance at 10,000, and I could get 10,000 in cash if they have the cash, which maybe not. So when they fuck up by loaning money like they did for the 2008 housing crisis, and they lent it out for house loans, and the house loans were bad because the people had no credit. So the banks lent out millions of dollars so you could buy a house, and they go bad. The banks get fucked, right? Because the banks can't get that money back in. And then what happens? Me and Bobby and everybody goes back and says, give me my money. Well, they don't have the money because the money's all lent out on mortgages that they can't get back because these people are too stupid to realize that you don't get a variable rate mortgage. Oh, the variable rate mortgage is $500 a month. Oh, I can afford that. Yeah, the first year. The second year, the interest goes up because it's a variable rate, and now you owe $700. I can maybe pay. Then it goes the next year. Now you're paying $1,000. Oh, I can't afford it. I'm going to default on my house, which is what happened. And then me and Bobby going for money, we can't get it because they don't have it because they've lent it out poorly. So the central bank is supposed to then make the other banks solvent. That's their job. That's why I bitch about the digital currency, because A, JP Morgan's not going to want to lose that. And B, they're not set up for the individuals. They're set up for the banks. So the banks might control us. But see, even that thing, they want to control us. That's like saying Philadelphia is going to win the Super Bowl, and we go, no, Kansas City's going to win it. And it's the same thing. Well, they want to control us with CBNCS or CBN, central bank digital currency. And you're like, well, we're just going to say no. I mean, good luck, but no, I don't think so. And that's really the issue. Can they force you to do it? I don't believe they can force Americans to do it. You can force Chinese to do it because they're controlled people. So are the Russians. They're very controlled. The government dictator tells them what to do. Go put up your socks, go to work. And they work like 12-hour days there. I mean, we work like a 40-hour a week shift, 8 hours, 5 days. They work like 12, 14 hours a day for no money and work 6 days a week. I mean, it's just fucking crazy in Russia and the Ukraine. So these people are controlled. So you can kind of control them because you're already controlling them. Here, we're free people. We are free thinking. And we're sitting there going, there's no fucking way I'm using digital currency. I don't use Bitcoin. Why would I use digital currency? And that's the other scam, is they're kind of trying to convince you into Bitcoin, which doesn't work. But people, okay, you can have it. It's America. So if you want Bitcoin, you can have it. However, I'm not getting into Bitcoin. I'll use this till they come out with the new money. And to get out of this, instead of jumping to Bitcoin, I'm jumping to gold and silver. So I don't understand all these people who want to get out of the system, which was smart, but they got into Bitcoin instead of gold. That's the part I can't understand. That's the beauty of Madoff and the beauty of JP Morgan is saying gold doesn't have a value. No. And with the right hand, they're keeping the price down. And with the left hand, they're saying, well, look, it doesn't have a value. Why would you get into it? Then why would you get into Bitcoin when you can't even figure out the value of it? And that's really the issue with Bitcoin is trying to figure out the value. One guy said it's supply and demand. I go, ain't no way it's supply and demand. Very few things are supplying them. The grocery store is supply and demand. That's about it. Most things are kind of set, but not at the market. So that's what the central banks are made, is to protect the regular bank, the Wells Fargo, the Chase, the Comerica, to be insolvent. So when they fuck up their books by lending money that they shouldn't, then what happens is the central bank bails them out. Okay, so the bank gives them money. Now you're even. That'd be like you lose $50,000 betting football, and then here comes the central bank saying, "Okay, here's your 50,000. Now you're even." What the fuck is that? That's what they're supposed to do. But what will happen now, and this is what we're trying to guard against, is they can't afford to bail them out because the debt's so high. So the central bank can't just print more, because all I would do is print money and give it to them. So they can't print the extra money with the inflation and the debt to give it to the banks. So what the banks are going to do is what they do in China and Pakistan and Greece and Sri Lanka, and they're probably doing it in Turkey. They're saying you don't have any money in the account. I know one guy in Dubai had this happen. He had like $3 million in the bank, and he goes to get some money out, and they says, "You don't have any money in here." They stole his money, and what are you going to do? Now, maybe he was a drug guy or a pimp or something like that. I don't know. But with that said, what was my thought? So the banks are going to do what's called a bail-in. So you'll go to the bank, and then this is why I'm ahead of the game. So you got $100,000 in the bank, Joe, I'll just say, random name, and he goes to get it out, and they're going to say you don't have it. Well, the bail-in is the bank stealing your money. The bank going, well, I know it says you had $100,000, but you know what? It's really our money because it's in our bank. And yeah, I know you trusted us, but we're fucking you over. And so what happens is the bank says you don't have any money. I don't know what happened. I hear it's happening at Bank of America, where people are losing their money right and left. I don't know what happened to it. And so that's probably the test bank, right? So you go to the bank, there's zero. Bobby, you're scaring me. So I went to Canada. You get it. Go put up your socks and get to work. What is that, Bobby? You're confusing me unless somebody else is chatting on here that I don't see. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But put up your socks and get to work. Who said that? I don't think I said it. Anyway, so that's what a bail-in is. They steal everybody's money. So they steal all the customers' money and say, oops, we don't know what happened. And you don't have any money in the account now. So the 100,000 you thought you had in the account, you got zero. And you're like, what the fuck? They'll steal your money because they'll just say, well, it's our money. We needed it. Laugh a lot. Remembering that happened with me. Someone was typing on my account. No idea who it was. Oh, hi, Nick. Yeah, I remember that with you, but I don't know what Bobby's talking about. You just said that about the Chinese professor. No, I didn't. Go put up your socks and get to work. I didn't say that. Are you listening to like an older one or somebody else? You're confusing me, Bobby. Anyway, this is Bobby on a Monday morning. He's had a little too much. Either that or you're doing a long fast. Yeah, Nick, I remember yours. There was a fake Nick Maida, but it looks like you're fine. So that's what happened. Yeah, you said that after stating that they are controlled. Oh, Well, I said they were controlled. I don't remember put your socks and get to work. I think what I said was that the Russians work like 18-hour days, 6 days a week for no money, but I don't ever recall put up your socks and get to work. Anyway, see, they're controlled society, so if they do it with digital currency, they'll do it because that's how they grow up. I know I've been to Moscow and I've been to the Ukraine a bunch, so I can see the people there are pretty controlled. Like when they see me, they don't know what to do. Who's this guy? They know I'm not Ukrainian, and they get jealous that I try to, meet the girls there. By the way, I started my probiotics. Did you do your fasting? But that'll help the probiotics also, the fasting. It does everything. It's a beautiful thing. I was watching one quickly to get to the doctor, right? The health doctor. And he said, what if I went on a diet where I ate regular food for 10 days? American diet. Beer, bagels, muffins, Oreos, Wheaties, or Raisin Bran. And he says everything he got spiked higher. Blood pressure went up, blood sugar, all this crap, his liver, his kidneys, all his system skyrocketed in 10 days. Now, I don't know why he did 10 days, but he said this is what happened. Like, I don't know why he was showing us. I already believe that we got to eat protein and vegetables and fruit, and that's, your fish, your hamburgers, your ribs, and your chicken, and stay away from bagels and beer and stuff like that. Anyway, I don't know. Like yesterday, I had a bagel. I went after workout. I got a bagel I went to the meat place. So I got 3 pounds of 86% ground sirloin, and it was $4.99 a pound. And I said to the guy, I thought it'd be $20 a pound by now. And then I got a roast, a London broil roast for $3.99 a pound. And then I got some ribs at like $6.99 a pound. I'm going, fuck. I was expecting $40 a thing. So on one hand, we're like confused by the inflation, and on the other hand, we're still seeing low prices. So I filled my freezer back up. But so the health guy saying, look, the regular diet with all the carbs and sugar fuck you up. And most of the stuff they're high in carbs, which is sugar. So that's what I keep trying to reiterate for us, is to avoid the carbs. You avoid the bagels and the yogurt, and you avoid the alcohol, and you avoid the bagels, the muffins, the Cheerios. All that stuff is high carbs, high sugar, and it fucks you up. So that's what I'm trying to avoid. You said that. I will look to do a 24-hour fast once a month or every other month. That brings me to a very interesting question that I've been wanting to ask you. Just ask the question, Bobby. I don't know about the 24-hour. If you keep wanting to do a 24, and I keep telling you, once you hit 18, the autography kicks in. You want to then really let it go. You want to do like you want to go to the next. So you want to do like, if you skip one day, it's 24 hours, and then you go to, after, and then you sleep, and then you eat it at lunch. It's already, it's about a 42-hour fast. So all you do is skip one day's meals. So let's say you don't eat tomorrow, Bobby. So you eat tonight. You're going to have 5 steaks tonight. Then you don't eat tomorrow. And then Wednesday, you just eat a lunch, right? So you skip one day is a 36-hour fast. But the repercussions are so much better because the autography hits at 18 hours. So you're really going 21, 24 hours. You're not giving the autography, when it's finally waking up and healing you, you're not giving it a lot of time. If you can stretch it out, then it really goes to work, because now it's 30 hours and 36 hours. So it's like compounding. It doubles the amount of work and cleans you out if you can just go to the next day. So I don't know, when you're saying 24 hours, if you mean I'll skip lunch and dinner, and then eat the next day. Then I would call that a 42-hour fast. And that I would tell you to do. Just skip. If you're going to skip the 2 meals, then just eat your regular meal, but you would have stayed up, you would have slept. So you sleep for 8 hours. That's 8 hours you're not eating. It's bonus. And you're not doing it, you're just sleeping. Bobby. So although I don't personally have diabetes, not that you know of, it's really high blood sugar. I do know some people with it, and I recall that you said you previously had diabetes. Therefore, how do you go about fasting long periods of time without the risk of passing out due to the low blood sugar, et cetera? Because I got rid of it. Once you analyze what it is, it's high blood sugar. Well, I'm eating too much sugar. What causes high blood sugar? Too much sugar. So I killed the sugar out of my diet, right? I got rid of the bread. I got rid of the bagels. I got rid of the ketchups and the barbecue sauces. I got rid of, all the breads, mostly the cereals. I got rid of Cheerios and Wheat Chex and yogurt and bagels and muffins, let's say. So I got rid of all that crap, and I substituted it where I'm eating omelets, and I'm eating cantaloupe, and I'm eating my avocado. So I'm eating this instead of that. So not only I don't add sugar, but I'm adding real healthy stuff. This is probably the most dangerous thing I eat, and this is 90% dark chocolate, which is all cocoa, which is extremely beneficial to us. So again, I don't really eat it for the taste, but I do like the chocolate. So I eat it to get a little sweet tooth, but I'm getting cocoa. So it's like when I tell you to eat honey or cinnamon, it's really beneficial. It's so healthy for you, but you don't eat a lot of honey, very little. Cinnamon I eat pretty good. I put it in my eggs. I put it in my eggs last night. So what you're doing is you're lowering the sugar in your body, and I have no problem fasting at all. Well, you saw me. I did 75 hours. I had no problem with it. Keep in mind, you can still drink water and tea and coffee just with no sugar. So I get water and I'll squeeze lemon in it and maybe a little cinnamon, and I'll have 5 glasses of it. And by then I'm not hungry anymore. So most of the time you're not hungry, you're thirsty, but you don't realize it. You want to eat because you're eating bad foods that make you more hungry. So without the risk of pain. So I don't really have the low blood sugar. I'm lowering my sugar. So my sugar's 300. It's now 200. So I've controlled my sugar with my eating. I still work out, but I don't eat the things. Like I said, I had a bagel yesterday. Okay. Whatever. And that's fine. Now today I got hamburgers. I got a little bit of chicken left. So I had my General Chow Saturday, which is no MSG and it's not fried, totally healthy Chinese. I ate the other half on Sunday, and I had made chicken breast. So I cut some chicken breast and I put it with the Chinese and mixed it in. It tasted great. So that's what I'm doing on that, is I'm controlling it with that. And you'll know if somebody has diabetes, they have a big stomach. So my stomach is flat, pretty much, little tiny bit. So it's pretty flat. When you got the guy up to here, it's an automatic. He's got diabetes, and the diabetes is the insulin resistant, which is what makes the fat. So you have a lot of insulin in your body, which is sugar, and your cells are full of it. That's why you get sick. So by not having the sugar and doing the fasting, the little guy's digging it out, the autography's digging it out, and this becomes flat. Well, if this is flat, you don't have diabetes. Then on top of it, my blood pressure was 180. I went to the doctor, it was 120. And I did it by staying away from the high fructose corn syrup and all the carbs, the breads, the bagels, the muffins, the cakes, all that stuff, ketchups and barbecue sauce. And I switched dressings to Ken's, and I use that as my ketchup. And I use a lot of olive oil with my omelets and my veggies. So I'm staying away from the bad stuff that gave me the high blood pressure and the high blood sugar. And that's how it reversed. So it just was basically, I lowered my blood sugar, which is what diabetes is. And I'm fine. You can tell when you're diabetic is when you're real tired. I remember I was probably diabetic 10 years ago, and I would eat and I'd get hungry in the afternoon. I was working at Ford's, and I'd probably got a candy bar or something. I'm hungry. There's a vending machine. And I was falling asleep on the way home. And I didn't know I had diabetes at that point, but I did, because that's one of the things is you fall asleep. And I remember telling my friend, I'd say, I don't get it. I eat and I'm exhausted. I can't keep my eyes open. And he thought, well, you're just getting older. So here's where you got to be careful who you listen to. So he says, well, you're getting over and your body takes a lot of work to get rid of it, so it's a lot of energy on the body to get rid of to digest the food. And I go, oh, okay, I don't know. It was bullshit. That had nothing to do with it. It was what I was eating. It was all sugar, and that put me to sleep. And now I'm never like that, right? You see me here, I go 3 hours. The one time I was a little tired, but generally I'm not. Generally, I'm like this all day. A lot of energy. I run in the pool and get on the bike every day. So it's really, I think that's the first key is if you get real tired, you probably got diabetes and you're fucked. You got to be careful with it. So if you just don't eat the shit, you don't have to worry about it. So that's kind of what I'm doing. That's why I say I already know, right? So being an INFJ, I've already analyzed everything. This is why some people don't get me. I've already done the analysis, right? Oh, KC Philly Super Bowl go over. Now you could argue with me, but I've already done the analysis that said, what's the best way to bet this game? KC, great offense, no defense. Philly, great offense, maybe a great defense, but oh wait, no, they played nobody. When they played two good teams with the quarterback, they scored 40 points on them. Two over teams, two weak defenses, it's an over. But once I make that analysis and I say go over, I'm not looking for a challenge. I've already analyzed it with myself going, this is the way to do it. That's INFJs. So once I come up with that answer, you can't change me because I was very thorough to get to that answer. I'm learning so much being an INFJ. It's amazing. Now I understand what the hell I am. In the health wise, that's why you got to be careful, but you will see fat people, mostly like Jack Tatum got it, right? The Ohio State guy who was on the Raiders, he got diabetes, actually cut off his foot, and then he died from it. Had he known what we're talking about, he would have gotten rid of diabetes. And he would never have had his foot cut off, but he had to know to get rid of the sugar and the carbs, but he probably didn't know that because this is all pretty new. My dad died in 1997. I think he started having strokes in 1995 he was diabetic. And I would have told him, fuck the insulin. So that's why I say, you don't need the insulin. Stop with the sugar. We'd go to lunch and he'd have like toast. And he's thinking, well, I'm not eating a lot. You're putting a ton of sugar in your body, Mr. Diabetic, because you're eating the toast. You're better off getting a salad or and even then, now if I go to a boneyard to get my ribs and I get a salad on the side, I'm bringing my Ken's salad dressing in. Actually, I had to talk with the owner. Says, you're killing all your people with the high fructose corn syrup, you need to have Ken's. And I think he now has like Ken's. He does have one Ken's, I think, ranch. So I will get the Ken's if he has it. But I'll just bring in my own salad dressing. I was like, fuck it. And I put it in my coat and I get a salad and no dressing. And I got my Ken's French and I'm putting, fuck you. I'm not getting sick because you're serving sugar. That happened to me the other day. I was out and I got like a burger. No, I got the steak and I got a salad with it. And I got Catalina and it was probably Kraft and it was sweet. I'll tell you, when I got home, I had a craving for sugar, oh my God. And that's the problem. You get these cravings from the shit. That's the problem. And you overeat. So be careful with that. But Bobby, I'd like to see you, if you're going to do the 24, if you're going to eat dinner tomorrow and then you're not going to eat on Wednesday, eat lunch on Thursday. I want you to do like a 42-hour fast, which all that means is not eating one day. Take a day off. Don't eat the lunch or the dinner. So eat tonight. Don't eat it all tomorrow. Then eat your normal noon on or 10 o'clock on Wednesday. That'll be 42 hours. The little guy inside will be cleaning you. That's what he does. But you're giving him more time. Right now, he comes out at 18 and you're only going 24. Well, you're giving him 6 hours, but if you just wait till the next meal, the next day, if you sleep with the guy and then let him clean you, it's a much better benefit because he really starts cooking. It takes him 18 hours, but then the longer you can go, the more he can clean you. Now you just go to sleep, and if you just don't have have 5 glasses of water, you'll be up peeing, but go have the water to kill your appetite, and you'll be surprised. Your appetite will go. You will not be hungry because what you're doing now is like 21 and 22 hours. And by avoiding the Fritos and the Oreos and all the shit, by not having that now, you won't. That's your hunger. Go try to eat a half a bag of Fritos. You can't because of the ingredients in it make you want to eat the whole bag. So if you just avoid that, you're not going to have that hunger. That the register in your brain to eat more won't be there because you're eating fucking broccoli and peppers and mushrooms and eggs and steaks. None of them give you that. Keep eating, keep eating, keep eating. Otherwise, we'd eat 20 steaks at a meal, right? So we eat a steak. I'm getting Chinese food. I'm not even eating the whole fucking dinner. I get General Chow, comes in that white box, right? And it's full of chicken and a little bit of broccoli and a good sauce. No sugar, no MSG, and it's not fried and it's not heavily breaded. I eat half of it and I'm full. I put it in the fridge and then Sunday I eat the other half of it. So I'm not even eating all my Chinese, which I love. And before I would have. Now it's much more controlled and then that's it. So once you get away from those bad foods, you won't eat as much. All right. So that's your health tips. That's why you avoid them. So what we're talking about, what Federal Reserve, so the banking. So keep in mind your banking. The banks are not, they're controlled. The central bank will make them whole, but in this case they won't. So they're going to come after our money. That's why I tell you leave about 5,000 to 6,000 in it. Like me last week, I got a timing thing. I get rent on the 1st, but I don't get my Social Security till the first Wednesday. So I'll get it Wednesday. So I need money. So I had to go put 2,000 into the bank. Now I'll get the 2,000 now. And I just got it in my mind, well, that's going to pay April's rent and stuff. So, keep that in mind. The banks are not our friends. The government's certainly not our friends. I was watching some YouTube shit on the government, on Fauci and the whole economic thing. And then all these Biden guys trying to get like sworn in, like to be the, whatever they're going for. I don't pay much attention to that shit, but like they got to get approved. So you're going to be the director of, archives I was watching. And the lady, I can't answer that question. I can't answer this. How the fuck are we supposed to put you in? You want to answer a question. All the Biden guys are a bunch of crooks. And they're all like, I can't answer this question. I can't answer that question. So it's a little bit better with the Republicans. I saw them fucking over Fauci, and they're fucking over the attorney general is very much of a Nazi, and he goes after the conservatives, but he doesn't go after the liberals. And they're making those comments like, that's not what your job is. You're supposed to be blind. It's this is the case, not the politics. So they like, we know what you're doing and we don't like it. And he keeps answering, well, I can't comment. It's like, I don't know why they put it. Just throw the guy in jail. So much easier. All right. So your gold and silver, I will find out this. Make sure that the coins are not carats, even though there are things like the U.S. dollar, the U.S. gold ounce is more than an ounce because it does have some other properties in it to make it a solid coin. But at the end of the day, I don't think they're looking at coins as carats. I think it's a whole separate issue, which is why I prefer the coin. That's why I got rid of my stuff. Well, I didn't want my red ring, but that's why it's so different. Is you're not worried about what's the spot price. Oh, it's $5,000. I got a 1 ounce. I get $5,000. Keeping it very clean because this whole jewelry seems like a scam, but I'll get more into it to try to figure out why you're double dipping us. So we're taking the non-gold stuff out to get to the real gold, the 18 karat gold of the bracelet, and then we're getting. Why is the price also dropping? Why is there a 14 karat price and an 18 karat price and a 24 karat price? And then is it just jewelry, not coins? So I'll get you that right after the show. What else? College basketball. So I got a look at Houston yesterday. So I came up with this analysis. Hello, where am I? All right, so when I looked at the variables of the team, which is taking the offense and defense, the best team in the country is Houston, 76 points for, 55 against. They're at 20.2. The next best is Liberty at 15.3, Tennessee at 15.2. Well, I'll go through all the 10 until 10. Tennessee 15-2, Sam Houston State 15-1, Alabama 14-2, UCLA. Now I hear they got a guard injured. How will that affect them? We don't know until we know how good the backup is. Was the backup playing? I would think in basketball it's a lot easier to get away, to bring in the second team guard. I'm sure plays a lot. I don't know it's going to be that, but they're a 14-1. Yale's a 14, Oral Roberts 13-7, Charleston 13-7, Connecticut 13-7, Gonzaga 13-5, James Madison 13-5, Florida Atlantic 13-4, St. Mary's 12-6, Massachusetts at Lowell 12-3, Arizona 12-1, UAB 11-5, Purdue 11-2, Furman 11-1, Marshall 10-9, Drake 10-9, Kent State 10-9, Iona 10-8, Youngstown State 10-7, Texas 10-4, Bradley 10-2, and Southern Utah 10. Now that's taking offense minus defense and getting the verse. In other words, Houston scores 76 a game and gives up 56. So that's where the 20 comes from. I do it in football, but I'm more or less looking at the defense. So when I look at the top defenses, Houston's number one in the country at 55-9. North Texas, I got to do the top 10. North Texas, 56. Here's Tennessee again, 56-7. Sam Houston State, 58-6. St. Mary's, 59. UCLA, 59. Rutgers, 59. Old Mississippi State, 59. Liberty, 60. Virginia, 60.5. Now, notice that here's the difference. Liberty is 75 and gives up 60, where Virginia scores 67 and gives up 60. Liberty is a much better team because they still score all the 60, where Virginia doesn't score as much. So their defense could be based on they slow the clock down and get less attempts. But in Liberty, they're still scoring 75. They're not slowing the clock down, and yet they're still scoring the 60. So that's kind of what so we can see where Houston should be the number 1 seed. And then you got Tennessee, UCLA, we'll see, Rutgers, Liberty. We're going to bet a lot on Liberty and St. Mary's, North Texas. These are strong defensive teams. And now we'll look at the best offensive team. The best offensive team, Gonzaga, but their defense isn't that strong. I would call them an over. They score 87, but they give up 74. Houston gives up 55. That's 20 points more they give up. That makes them an over team. Toledo, same way, 85. Youngstown State, 83. Alabama, 83. Cornell, 82. Furman, 82. Xavier, 81, 82. James Madison, 81. New Mexico, 81. Iowa, 80. Wright State, 80. And Bryant, 80. So it kind of gives you the flavor we're looking at, right? Hey, I didn't lose it. All right. I think it was the mouse, because when I use my fingers instead of the mouse, that's it. So that's kind of the first blush at college basketball. Now, I don't know. I think the tournaments are this week, and then it gets to the brackets, and then the big tournament. I think the Big Ten tournament's this week, for example. So then we'll get our bracket. So we can kind of practice. Let's practice on the Big Ten this week with what I just did, and we will see if we can project the winner. Looks like Purdue's the best team based on the score. Now, they are actually the best team in the conference record. They're first place, and now you can see why. So it's kind of like, well, Professor, that's kind of redundant. Of course, the first place team is going to have the best offense and defense. Well, not always. Look at Kansas City in football. They had a great offense. They did not have a great team. They were an over team. Cincinnati was the A team in the conference, which is why we bet Cincinnati over KC. They were the A team. Both Buffalo and KC are over teams. And so with that said, you could see, so it's not the A team always that does it. Now in football, it's Mahomes is so much stronger that he kind of eliminates the defense, because you really can't stop him. And you don't need a running game, because if he needs to, he had that one long run for 20 yards, but normally they're throwing short passes to the backs or Kelsey. He doesn't need the running game to establish the pass. He can do everything on his own. Oh, you know what I saw? I saw Patrick Mahomes 1990 Flair Ultra card, and I got all excited. I says, fuck, I got a Patrick Mahomes baseball card. And then I realized, I think he does have one, but then I realized that was his father, not his, because he came in 20, he's been there 5 years. He came in 2014, 2015. This is a 1990 Flair Ultra Pat Mahomes, and I was like, I wonder if the father and the son gets more value, but I would think nobody gives a shit about the father. And there's one that has Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. on a card. That's different, but they're not on the same card. But I did notice that. So I've been going through my baseball cards, looking at that. I keep looking on eBay PSA 10s by the year to keep seeing if I'm missing something, if something's shot up. So I kind of keep an eye on that. One guy came to me at the coin store, and he didn't know what he was doing. So, of course, I put my 2 cents in. I'm not going to stop that. I wonder if I rocked his dad over the right field wall before. I don't know. How long did he play? And he was on Minnesota, so you wouldn't have saw him that much. I don't think there was interleague play like there is now. Well, son, yeah, but he wasn't a good baseball player. He had to go into football. Wasn't he like a center fielder? Or shortstop? I don't think he was a pitcher. But Winston was a pitcher. I know there's a lot of baseball players. I remember the guy in Florida State, the quarterback, was a pitcher, and Russell Wilson was I think he was a center fielder at North Carolina State and got drafted, but he probably couldn't hit, which who could? And only you, Bobby. So you're underappreciated the way you hit with that 420 batting average you had. So I don't see the, so you get quite a few baseball players who couldn't make it, and they're very good quarterbacks because they can throw sidearm and shortstop, and they get the footwork. So I would recommend probably anybody in football to go play a little bit of baseball to get your footwork down. I thought Winston would be a Super Bowl champ. Too many interceptions. I love the first year he looked great at Florida State. They win the title. And the second year he threw a ton of interceptions. So it was like, and then he's just downhill ever since. But never lived up to his talent as an NFL quarterback. Well, because he was not a good NFL quarterback. He's a good college quarterback. Again, it's reading the defense and everything. All I know is he won me a lot of money with that touchdown with 10 seconds left to beat Auburn and then cover the 1 point. So I was very excited about that one. He won me a lot of college. Yeah. Also, Russell Wilson was the pitcher. Yeah. Yeah, and but that's what makes them good quarterbacks is they got the arm. They can whip it in. But it's really the whole – in baseball, the way I was taught is when I get the ball, what am I going to do with it before I get the ball? So I'm thinking and strategy, and he might go from first to third, or he's going to go from second home. So I got to be ready and moving around. You don't know where the ball is going, so you got to be, I played second base, so I'm like, leaning left and right and getting off the snap of the ball, which is a lot of football is realizing what happened. And then you got to switch, right? Oh, here comes the rush. I got to move away. You learn a lot of that in baseball without realizing it. But yeah, I mean, what was that? A Florida State quarterback was he won the Heisman Trophy. I can't think of the name in the 80s, and Wenke, that's what it was. So Wenke was a college pitcher too, who was in the minors for like 3 or 4 years. And he said, well, he ain't getting anywhere. And then he became a quarterback at Florida State. He didn't do much in the pros. And then my favorite was Charlie Ward, the point guard quarterback at Florida State. He won him a national title. And it was always a joke. My brother-in-law's from New York. He's a cancer doctor. Well, he used to be. He sold his practice. And it was always the joke, who's the best point guard in New York? And it was Charlie Ward, not John Starks or the point guards on the New York teams, but Charlie Ward. It was hysterical. He was a big Lawrence Taylor fan. For one of his birthdays, I gave him a Lawrence Taylor jersey, not autograph, but just the Game 56 Taylor jersey, a couple $100. He loved it. And then he'd go to the game. So if he went back to New York to go to a Giant game, everybody in the section had a 56 jersey. And if you looked up, there'd be like 30, 56 jersey guys in the section. It was hysterical. I didn't go, but that's what he'd say. Everybody would wear everybody had a Lawrence Taylor jersey. So that was funny. But that's what it is. So keep looking at the cards. All I can say is you try to go to a card show and I would get Mahomes and Burrow ungraded rookie cards. You don't want to pay for, you're paying, now Burrow's won 2 Super Bowls. This is when I started buying the Brady rookie cards, and I probably should go to a show and buy a few Mahomes cards, although my inventory is so big. The last thing I really want to do is go buy more. I'd rather sell it, but that's what I would do is go to a show, look for cards you like, cheap cards, but they're mint condition, but they're not graded. So nice corners, nice centering, nice pitcher, no stains. Corners are really sharp. Okay, how much? You can probably get them for $10, $20 because they're not graded. And those you put away, and then you just watch. And then the PSA 10s go up to 1,000. then you start getting them graded, and that's where you turn a $20 investment into a 2 or 3,000 one. I never thought my Joe Montana rookie would be $100,000. Now, granted, that's a PSA 10. Mine's at least a PSA 9 because if the centering's a little bit off, but I might be able to get a 10. I get a 9. I think it's worth $10,000, which is really peculiar how a 10 gets you $100,000 and a 9 gets you $10,000. But they better be PSA, and if they're not, you're totally fucked because you'll get nothing for them. And so all of a sudden it's worth a lot. I bought it for $100 and I was just happy I got a Montana rookie card. There was no incentive that, I'm going to buy it because it's going up to 100. That was just a fluke. That was just to get a Montana rookie. It was like, okay, you got to get the Montana rookie, the Rice rookie, the Peyton rookie, Earl Campbell, and they're all worth like $100,000 in 10 conditions. So mine are mint, but I don't know if they're 10, but we'll certainly hope so. What else? So let's look at gold price. $18.53 is the future. Let's see what it is. It's gold price today on NASDAQ, which doesn't really mean anything, is $18.47. Now we have a small drop at 10, and then it went back, and then we're getting a big drop now at 2 o'clock. This, I guess, would be news of some Federal Reserve bullshit. They just make it up. Silver's at 21.01, which again is bullshit. We know that. The Dow's at 33.4, up 32, which we can't understand, but that's okay. New Orleans Saints signed quarterback Derek Carr to a 4-year deal. So he goes to New Orleans. Now, did Oakland get better by letting him go? We don't even know who their quarterback is, and then where's Aaron Rodgers going? We don't know. But New Orleans gets Carr, probably a good thing. Traverse City man charged with embezzling over $100,000. Idiots. So what do you think of this whole little draft thing? So in the draft combine, I think it's stupid. I don't really know what the point of testing a quarterback's 40 time. Right? Quarterback's not a running back. You're looking at can he hit the receiver? See, really, it's stupid. Just look at his bowl game. That's why they should play the bowl game. So Georgia, Stetson Bennett, look at those Ohio State game and then look at the TCU game. You don't need to look at the other stuff to figure out if the guy's any good, right? So this is my point with him. What is doing a 40-yard dash like they're talking about Richardson from Florida, who sucks, but he's got a strong arm and he can do he's like a 4.4 40-yard dash guy. Fine, put him in at running back. But if you're measuring, that has nothing to do with the quarterback because That is not the point of the quarterback. He's got a strong arm. So does Josh Allen, but he throws it to the wrong team awfully lot. Bobby, I read that the Bears are very likely to trade up. They have the number 1 pick. What are you talking about? Bobby, I'm really worried about you today. You're making some really strange comments. The Bears have the number 1 pick. So they're not going to trade up to get it. They have it. I think they're looking to trade out of it and get more picks because they have Fields. And if somebody really wants CJ Stroud for some reason or the Alabama quarterback, so let's say like the number 5 pick wants CJ Stroud. So, I don't know, or whatever the Alabama quarterback. So they trade them. So they give them that and they get the 5th pick plus another pick or other talent. And the Bears, they're in need of, well, they need a quarterback, obviously. They need receivers. They need defense because they got rid of their defensive player. They're basically a very bad team. And their GM's terrible, and they drafting Fields didn't help them. I apologize for it. I didn't know that Ahmad first pick all this time. Ahmad? Hopefully I don't get suspended from class. No, you get suspended for being like rude, not for misinformation. So no, you know. I really doubt I would ever suspend you, Bobby, but you're not really you don't pick on my girlfriends or disrespectful or pick on me. When it starts getting personal is when I really don't want to deal with it. I don't want to start reading, oh, you shouldn't give your girlfriends money. I mean, I don't know anybody that is married or has girlfriends that doesn't help them out. I mean, don't you want the girl to stay with you? And so the girl's you're not going to help her. You're going to make her pay for her own meals. And you think she's going to say, oh, you're so wonderful. I don't care. I'll pay for you. I mean, I don't buy that for a minute. So when you start getting personal like that, that's a different story. But you don't have anything to worry about, Bobby. You're always pretty good on yours. You just sometimes mistype, but so yeah, the Bears have if I was the Bears, I would get rid of Fields. I would probably make a trade. Just like if I was Jacksonville, I'd get rid of Trevor Lawrence. You're never going to win with him. If Denver can't win with Russell Wilson, what good does Chicago have, and what good does Jacksonville have, or Miami with their quarterbacks? Their quarterbacks are not nearly as good as Russell Wilson. So it shows you need the team. But we'll look into that. But again, there was so they're talking about Richardson, quarterback from Florida, who sucks. Well, he ran a 40-yard, he ran a 4.5 40. Well, big fucking deal. He's a quarterback. Or his high jump. He's a quarterback. Nobody cares. We get he's an athlete. What kind of athlete was Tom Brady? Joe Montana. These weren't athletes. These were not athletic types. But you know what they could do? They could read a defense, and they could put the ball right on the numbers and make the big throws at the end, like Montana with the catch and Brady, in the Atlanta game and the Seattle game and down on the Ram game, he could move you down. That's what we're looking for in a quarterback, not somebody who can run a 4.5 40 who can't throw the ball. And Richardson can't throw the ball. Yeah, I was shocked to see that Richardson is being considered. He's definitely not. See, again, these are guys that don't know what they're doing, or they're signing athletes because they think that's what the fans want. I don't know. It makes if I'm a owner of a team or a GM, this guy would, I told you about Lamar Jackson, that he wasn't any good. Now I don't know where if he's even on any team. I know Baltimore doesn't want anything to do with them. They got rid of their offensive coordinator, and they're like parting ways. So I could have saved you a whole headache of grief by not signing a running quarterback because it doesn't work. Michael Vick, Dante Culpepper, they don't win because the defense is faster than they are. And at the end of the game, you need to be Joe Montana. So imagine Lamar Jackson against Dallas in 1981. Montana rolls to the right and then throws it up for Dwight Clark, and he catches the ball and they win. Well, with Lamar Jackson, he would have tried to run it in against Harvey Martin and had Too Tall Jones. And how would that have worked out? You need to be able to throw the ball in the red zone for touchdowns. That's what wins playoff games, championships, Super Bowls, not to be able to run. Because at that stage, he wouldn't have ran for 20 yards on that Dallas defense. But Montana could throw the ball, and that's where the matchups favored. Dwight Clark, they couldn't handle him. And they had that great Everson Walls was on him like glue the whole play. Everson Walls was the rookie of the year, had like 11 interceptions that year. And they're in the back of the end zone, and Everson Walls is in his hip pocket. He's this far away from him. Dwight Clark is not open. But the intelligence of Bill Walsh in the play was to throw it very, very high. And he was 6'5", and Walsh was 5'11". And if he threw it real high, threw it 10 feet in the air, he was able to jump up with his hand and catch the ball. Everson Walls was nowhere to be seen, and Everson Walls was this far away from him when he took off. That is Joe Montana. That is what you want out of a quarterback, not to fucking run it. There's no way he would have ran it for a touchdown, right? But can Lamar Jackson and this Richardson and all these guys, and I'm even Hurts, can they make that play? That's the point that I'm making. Tagliavua cannot make the play. Lawrence, there's no way. Fields, there's no fucking way. They want to run. They won't even get to the play. Montana, what? He went back and then he went to his right. So the play was 4 or 5 seconds. You think Lamar and these guys, Fields, are going to wait in the pocket for 5 seconds? Hell no. They're going to go back and run in 2 seconds, right? That's how would they have made the play? But Montana probably had 5 or 6 seconds because he's fading to the right, fading, and he's looking for Dwight Clark to get in position. So that was what that was all about. That wasn't even the play that was called. The play that was called was the Freddie Solomon touchdown earlier in the game, but he was covered this time. So he went to the Dwight Clark was plan B. So are these guys smart enough to go to plan B? Fields, do you think Fields knows what plan A is? More or less going to go to plan B, or Lawrence or Tagliavua? None of them are plan Bs. And then are they going to hold the ball long enough to get the guy to get the play done correctly? And that's why I kind of bitch about it, because I don't think they can. I don't think they're capable because they're not quarterbacks. And I don't see where Richardson's going to do anything for you. If he was, he would have showed it at Florida, which he didn't show. If you don't show it at Florida, you're not going to go to the NFL and all of a sudden discover it, right? You got to have it in college. When you got it in college, Joe Montana at Notre Dame. Brady was a weird one because at Michigan, he didn't show shit. They didn't even play him that much, which that's why he fell, because they're going, well, if he's any good, he'd beat out the other quarterback, who I'm drawing a blank, Michigan quarterback. He couldn't even beat him out. Oh, he's going to be a pro and he can't even start for Michigan, which was all Lloyd Carr's fault, because Lloyd Carr promised the other guy. The other guy was like a superstar, except for he wasn't. And so that was the difference. Brady sort of got screwed at Michigan, should have transferred. Like, he should have been the quarterback in the 97 national champion. He was a freshman. Right. And Greasy, of all people, Greasy's son. But then when you went to the next year and you got the new guy, if I'm Brady and I get beaten up by this new guy who I can see is not good, he should have transferred right away to Illinois or Iowa. He'd have lit it up and he would have been a first-round draft pick. So he stayed at Michigan, was stupid. I mean, that's what you do. It's the same thing with a job or a girl. If it ain't working out, you just move on. You don't sit there. or in a bad stock or in a bad poker hand. You're in it. You're in it too long. If you don't like the girl, what are you still dating her for? Go find the girl that you want to. That's my whole thing on competition, right? I like her. I like her. I like her. Date them all, because you got to see the one you really want to be with. And if you just date one and that's it, and then you don't really like her, you're fucked. But if you date 3 or 4 at the same time, or at least talk to them, be friendly with them, then you can kind of say, wait a minute, I don't like number 1. I like number 3 better. And then you go to number 3. You don't waste your time with number 1 and go nowhere with her. So that's really it. Bobby, it's true they don't do their homework and just by default turn to the Bamas, Floridas, and Ohio States. Well, this is why the league's in such problems, Bobby, and I agree, is that's what you have. Well, I don't know. Like, I'll just take the guy from Alabama because he's from Alabama, and nobody can really say anything. But these guys haven't won. Alabama gave up 50 points to Tennessee. I wouldn't draft anybody on their defense. I would be drafting TCU guys, I'll tell you that, and Oregon guys, and Washington State defense, and Oregon State defense, and fucking Iowa State and Illinois defensive players. I'd be all over them. They fucking played great defensively. That's where you get your defense, because they can come in and say, this is the defense we ran. This is how we ran it. We gave up 5 points a game. Maybe it's a good defense for you. Just the same thing. If I draft Stenson Bennett, I'd run the Georgia offense. Fuck it. Even though I'm an LSU fan, no way is Daniels. And yeah, he was like ranked 9th. And I'm like, you got to be kidding. And I'm an LSU fan also. That doesn't mean I bet LSU. Now, I bet him a lot with Burrow, right? Then I was in my glory, right, with Burrow. But now Brian Kelly, I thought I would bet him more last year. But when he went to Daniels, you've got to be kidding. He sucked at Arizona State. I looked at his numbers. There's no way to go to him. So I was really surprised he went to Daniels, and then he's very hard to bet on because he can't throw the ball, and he's got the best receiver in Boutte, and yet he doesn't throw the ball to him. I was hoping Daniels would leave this year so they can have a good quarterback. He's sitting on the bench. So what we got to pray for is Daniels gets hurt and they bring in the guy that they should have had in there. See, that's kind of like a Rising and a Van Dyke. You've got the quarterback, but you play the other one. Then the other guy gets injured. You bring in the better quarterback, Rising Van Dyke. All of a sudden, they're superstars. And that's really what you got to hope for at LSU is they bring in the other quarterback. I think they'll still be a title contender, but the Daniels scenario, well, we'll see. A lot's going to depend on Georgia. I think they have a pretty good quarterback, but he hasn't played. So we got to watch Georgia a few weeks. We know they're always going to have a good defensive player. I heard on the radio how all the Georgia defensive players were like running 4.3s. And so they get obviously very fast defensive players. But when you watch them play, you see how fast Georgia is. They're in the backfield the whole game. The quarterback takes his 4-step, 5-step drop, and he's being sacked. That's why Georgia's so good. The quarterback has no time to throw it. And if he does force it, they pick it off. And so they're very fast, the Georgia players, which is one of the secrets. Plus, they're good fucking defensive football players. So it'll be. Let's see. I think the quarterback will be okay, and then is the tight end still there? If he leaves Bowers, now I think Bowers would have been a sophomore last year because I remember he was a freshman when they won it all, and then last year he would have been a sophomore. So I think he has to play this year. And then and with the COVID rules, all these guys are playing an extra year. It's crazy. So we'll see. But he's got Bowers, the best tight end in football. And I know they got running backs, and I know they got a great line and they'll have a great defense. So Georgia's going to be hard to beat unless the quarterback is a running quarterback like Richardson who can't throw. So as long as they got a normal, smart throwing quarterback, they'll be fine. But I love how these radio idiots go, well, but he's 26 years. He'll be 26 years old. The Georgia quarterback, and you're like, so what? He didn't look too bad winning the national title the last 2 years. Now all of a sudden you're gonna say, well, but now he's in the NFL, he's too old. Well, 26 is probably a good age in the NFL. I think Winky came in when he was 26 from Florida State. Now he didn't do well, but again, I find that the teams are better in college, have more talent. Ohio State has much more better talent on better receivers, better running backs, better offensive line. Then when the quarterbacks like Fields gets into the pros, you don't have anybody. He doesn't have receivers as good as he had at Ohio State. Doesn't have running backs as good as he had at Ohio State. That's the interesting part about pro football is how bad the talent level is versus what the guy had in college, which should be the other way around. So what's this Georgia quarterback name? God damn it. I can't think of it. I can picture him, but I can't think of him for some reason. I don't know. I'm doing that a lot today where I can't think of Bowers, and then I think of him. I can't think of Wenke, then I think of him, and I can see the Georgia quarterback, but I can't think of him. Well, see, Daniels won't win LSU a title. He needs to get hurt, so they go to the other one. From what, I'm talking last year's Georgia quarterback. God. I can't believe I can't think of him. Need your help there, Bobby. Last year, the guy who's in the draft this year, Stetson Bennett. That's it. Thanks, Bobby. See, I don't get it. I when I try to go to Stetson Bennett, I said it before. I can't think of him now. I draw a blank, and then 10 seconds later, my mind opens up, loosens up, and Stetson Bennett, just like I couldn't say Winky or the tight end Bowers. It was like it's not coming in. I got too much shit in my brain. Anyway, this I don't know. I don't see the Alabama or the Ohio State quarterback 1-2. Hayner, they're trying to, he's too small, but the Alabama quarterback's 5'7", but he's not too small. Not that height has anything to do with quarterbacking. I mean, unless he's like 5 feet tall. The guy could do it in college. Hayner did it in college. The Alabama quarterback did it okay in college. Again, he sneaks away from playing Georgia. And he had a hard time against Texas, and he had a hard time against A&M, and he had a hard time. Well, he had an easy time against Tennessee, and then the other loss they had. What was the other loss? LSU. So he had a hard time against LSU. So I don't know what he thinks the Alabama quarterback is all that, or the Alabama team is all that. They should have had 4 losses. I mean, they had 2, but they should have lost to Texas. And A&M, if they ran that really good running back, probably score. What the fuck? They had a third-string quarterback in. He's going to win the game. So that's the thing. But everybody loves that Alabama linebacker. I'm like, why? I mean, how are you judging a linebacker to know? Now, the Georgia defense, you could judge by points. That's why I like Iowa State, Washington State, Oregon State, Illinois. They gave up less than 14 points a game. Obviously, they have pretty fucking good defensive players, but Alabama wasn't there. I mean, they gave up 50 to Tennessee. There's no way they had a good defense. Yeah, we should draft the Alabama linebacker. Okay, keep dreaming. I just saw where Hyatt, the Tennessee wide receiver who was injured half the year, but mysteriously played against Alabama, they're thinking he'll be the first receiver taken. He's just gone up the list. Well, I could have told you that. He didn't need a draft day to tell you that. That's what's so stupid about it. There's nothing I'm going to learn in the draft day how fast the guy is. He's a fucking receiver. I know how fast he is. Does he get open and can he catch? I have no problem with the Tennessee guys. I have no problem with the Georgia guys. They're fast enough. Does it really matter if you're on a 4.3 or 4.4? No, it's it's the quickness, and it's like Kelsey. How fast is Kelsey? He finds the dead spot in the zones. He gets open. Him and Mahomes play catch because he finds the dead spot. Do we care how fast he is? No. I mean, unless he ran a 7 or something, but I'm sure Kelsey's like a 4.8 or 4.9, but he knows how to get open. That's the key to it. So you watch the games to see Boutte knows how to get open, and he's the fastest guy out there. And Brock Bowers is extremely fast for Georgia, the tight end, and he knows how to get open. That's all you care about. At the end of the day, it's not how fast he is. Can he get open? Can he read a zone? Can he read the blitzes coming and adjust? That's what it's all reading the blitz, reading the defense. It's got nothing to do with speed. And maybe like a linebacker or a safety, you need speed on, but not a quarterback. What is the point of running he runs a 4.5 40. He's a quarterback. Nobody gives a fuck. God, I wouldn't have run it. I said, you know what? If you're going to draft me based on my 40 time, I don't want to play for your team anyway. You're a bunch of idiots, and we're not going to win anything anyway. If this is what you look at to coach a team, I don't want to play for you. Oh, Bennett. I got it. It's Bennett, yeah. Tide Pod. Who's Tide Pod? So you think Georgia can win the national title again this coming season? Who's the new quarterback now? They got a good quarterback from what I saw, but I haven't seen him in action. So defensively, they'll be strong. They got the running backs. They got Bowers, the tight end. I'm sure they got wide receivers. They're at the point they get the good players. Now, what happens to Ohio State? Their defense went bad. Too many guys left after the first year. Alabama, they changed their offense. Now their defense sucks because they don't rest. That's why Alabama's not winning. Clemson, they had Buglia. So you get a bad quarterback, that fucks you up. Notre Dame and Michigan had some really bad years. Terrible coaches, terrible quarterbacks. Look at Michigan. They went when Rich Rodriguez is there. They switched to these fast quarterbacks, and what did they do? They got their ass kicked. They were so bad they couldn't. There was one year they couldn't even win the Big Ten game. Well, we got a fast quarterback. Yeah, that did a lot. There was Gardner, and there was the guy before him who didn't wear shoes or something. How did that work out? That's why you need Joe Burrow, not the fast running backs how did Pat White do from West Virginia? None of those guys, they're fast, are good college players, are good in the pro. None of them are good in the pros. You've had enough. If they started doing good and winning Super Bowls, it's fine, but they're never going to. The only one who's going to beat Mahomes is Burrow. That's it. They're not, Josh Allen ain't beating them, and Lamar Jackson ain't winning a playoff game. He's lucky if he goes the whole year. I'll bet you, as you say, Bobby, he won't play a whole year again. Either he'll be injured or he'll pretend to be injured. He ain't playing. And if you pay him $40 million, we're going to bet so heavy against the team because they won't have a defense, right? You start paying $40 million to one player, you got 45 players. You've got only so much money. So therefore, with 45 players, if you give one guy $45 million, now I got $45 million less over here. How am I going to pay all the players? And I got to play reserves because I know most of them are going to get injured. So now I need second teamers. Well, I'm giving Lamar $40 million to run around and get injured. I'm fucked. And that's what happened to Baltimore last year. They had the defense was okay, but their offense sucked. So, yes, I think Georgia can win it with the defense. They just need a decent quarterback who doesn't turn it over too much. So that might hurt them, as I just said, with Notre Dame and Michigan. When they didn't have the quarterback is when they sucked. So that's always the key, is the new quarterback. I meant it was a typo. Sorry, I am. You're worrying about fasting too much. Sorry, that Bobby Bow is embarrassing the class today. Well, that's okay, Bobby. Shit happens. You're probably working out in the middle, so you hit the wrong letter. That's okay. Not a problem. So that's the problem. Is see, if you watch them in college, you can see how good they're going to be in the pros. It's very easy, right? You knew Burrow was going to be outstanding because he threw the ball and all these touchdowns. Lamar Jackson coming out of college sucked. He didn't even win the ACC, and he lost to Clemson 35-0. So what is it that you see in him that makes you go, we're going to win? He did beat Florida State like 70-0, but Florida State had never seen this running. He was able, and he ran on them. He didn't throw on them. Then against Clemson, he couldn't run, had to throw, couldn't throw. They get shut out. So it's not hard to see how they are in college, which is going to determine how they're going to be in pro. Because if you have to start teaching your quarterback how to read a blitz, like Joshua Dobbs at Tennessee couldn't read the blitz and fumbled, and Jacksonville ran it in for a touchdown, cost Tennessee a playoff win because he couldn't read a blitz, didn't get Ray, and Purdy couldn't read a blitz apparently and wasn't prepared to get there's times you eat the ball, right? Manning would do it. Brady would do it. Aaron Rodgers, they just fall down. They go, oh, okay, I'm about to get killed. Like, you've got to be privy to your surroundings. And yet Joshua Dobbs is clueless. And so was Brock Purdy. Should have kind of saw the guy and not tried to force it, where I think he's trying to get surgery and his elbow is still swollen. So will he be ready for the year? And what's wrong with his elbow that it's still swollen? So I don't know, but he needs to fast, Bobby, because I'll tell you, my back feels much, much better. Occasionally I tweak, like I was talking to a lifeguard supervisor yesterday. We were talking about gold and silver and stuff. And but I was standing too long. If I stand for like 10 minutes, just standing there, my back tightens up. So I can have a conversation sitting, my back doesn't tighten up. But when I'm just standing there for 10 minutes, very hard. So at the pool, I see the communist, but we just ignore each other. If he ever talks to me, I'll just call him Joe Stalin. Say, hey, Joe Stalin, how you doing? How's the world of communism? So the supervisor at the pool, I like, very pretty girl, comes up to me and says, my dad, I talk gold and silver with people that'll listen. So she says, my dad told me to buy gold and silver. And then, so I started teaching, going, okay. And some guy is embarrassing us because he's saying it's simple. It's Econ 101. And I wrote in his comments, you mean Econ 501? This is master's level, not undergrad bullshit. So I was explaining like $35 an ounce to $19 an ounce, the money losing value. That's always the key one, because then you can see it. So I basically said you have two choices. Choice A, you keep your money in fiat. It goes to zero and you lose it all. Choice two is you get rid of it, and you can't go to another currency because they're all the same. So your only way out is to get assets. So there's Bitcoin, which I don't see. There's gold and silver, which is money. And then there's diamonds or baseball cards. But gold and silver is the most likely to get out of the fiat currency. Then if you need it, so something happens and you need, then you go. See, the difference is, if I have to, I would go sell an ounce get my 1850 if I needed it, even though I probably paid 1900 for it. I could theoretically say, I'm going to sell my gold. I want my 1850. I want my spot. He'd give me my spot, and then I'd have it. I know what I would get versus the jewelry. But if I ever need it, so the point to her was, if you need the money back, you go back to the coin store and get your money. So it's basically just on loan for you, but it will go up, and it will go up a lot because it's been held down by JP Morgan. And I could see the lights were going on, and she's getting it from her dad. So I'm like, I go into teacher mode, and I'm basically telling her that you have no risk. It can only go up because they keep valuing the dollar down, and you really have no alternative. If you keep it in the dollar, it's going out, right? So so what good is having 50,000 in dollars that are going to be worth zero? But if you bought gold for 50,000, not only is it going to stay at 50, but it'll go up because this is going to go down, the dollar, and then this is going to hit its true value, which is why I say silver, 2000, because that's probably the true value. So I see a lot in YouTube now where they really don't have the value of gold and silver. That's what they're saying. Well, we don't really know the true value of it. We have the COMEX value, but we don't really have the true physical value. And that's what we're going to get in Russia. So anyway, so that's what I did. So I explained it so she could understand it. All right, let's see what we're doing. So some of the YouTubes I looked at, U.S.-German divide erupts. U.S. suspends sanctions. The EU suspends sanctions against Russia. The owner of NATO has become the United States. So what's happening now is NATO's like Europe's getting fucked over because they sanctioned Russia. And all the goods and services like the oil, the gas, and everything they need from Russia, they can't get because they're sanctioning them. So they're going, fuck this. We can't get. The U.S. is selling them the gas and oil at 5 times the price they can get for Russia. Why are we at war? I mean, they invaded the Ukraine. Then they're realizing, well, this is the U.S. against Ukraine. This is how the defense makers are making this war is so that Northrop and Raytheon can make money. That's all this war is about. They're ordering planes and tanks and missiles, and they from Raytheon, Northrop, and all these places. They're the ones getting rich off the war, not Ukraine's getting killed in Europe, but the sanctions are fucked. So now that's one video is saying that it's clear U.S. is NATO. It's clear that Europe is getting killed by the sanctions, and they just said U.S. suspends this. The EU suspends the sanctions. So that's this one over here. This is deep in my. I don't even know. Because the algorithms in YouTube are about what you watch. So if I watch football, I'll get football. If I watch The Rock will come up. If I watch poker, the poker ones. When I watch gold and silver ones come up. So I hate it. I don't try to, you can't pin me on anything. So I'm all over the place in 50 different subjects, as you can see. Let's see. This guy I don't really like. He's saying 401k is a scam. What he's really meaning is that you save, but with the inflation, you're getting hurt and you're not really, they're just putting into the stock market for you a 401k. You should be in gold. So I don't like this guy. I don't think he's smart enough to do this. This one's saying about the war, how Ukraine is controlling it. The Israelis are now with the Ukraine. And so it's becoming Russia's trying to get Crimea back, which is in the Sea of Azov, the Black Sea. And it's pivotal because Russia's problem is they don't have warm water seaports. This is what caused World War I. They wanted the warm weather seaports, so they created the war. And if you look at them, they're all landlocked, and the only place they can really go, they got to go the other way to Antarctica, or there's a little way they can go Murmansk, which is up north in northern Russia, which gets them near Norway and Sweden and stuff. but they're basically fucked from the Mediterranean, the Atlantic, the Pacific, the Indian. So that's their problem. So they can't afford to lose Crimea, which is what the Ukraine's doing. Ukraine's doing a good job. I think they're winning by a mile the war. It's just when it ends. This one was an interesting one where this lady's saying, oh, it's coming whether people like it or not. And that's the Schwab guy saying, well, you're going to get this if, you're going to get this. We're going to crash the economy and put you on digital dollars if you like it or not. This is how, you're going to be. And fortunately, I'll tell you, this is on Forbes. This congresswoman said, fuck this. We are not listening to this shit. So it gives you a good, see, this is my point. They come out with electric cars, like we're going to buy one, or they come out with this solar and wind energy, like that's the answer, and it's not. And they can tell us it is. And we just go, fuck, what good's wind energy when it's not windy? What good is solar energy when it's a cloudy 3 weeks because it's raining? It's not the answer. There's nothing wrong with what we're doing. They're getting away from fossil fuels, probably money. It's all probably about money. These idiots don't care about anything but money. But again, we're Americans and we live in a market economy. It's Say's law, right? This is what we want. Oh, we're going to sell you electric cars. We don't want it. Oh, we're going to control you with digital currency. We don't want it. Even crypto, we don't want it. Now, crypto is more of a choice, but even that's probably a scam where, it'll go up to 50. We're going to make our money in crypto. Why? I don't know, but we will. Okay, blockchain, I don't know much about it, but it's fine if it's useful, right? So's Excel, so's the internet. I mean, but that's it. It's fine if blockchain helps make things better. That doesn't mean Bitcoin's going to go up in value because of the blockchain. So I've been watching that a little bit, but it's really has nothing to do with Bitcoin going up in price because they use the blockchain. It's just the technology that'll be used by banks or governments or businesses or Ford or GM, whatever the fuck. I don't care. It's like everybody uses the internet. That hasn't done anything. So it's good that it's coming whether or not. The senator was like telling them to fuck off, that it ain't coming whether we like it or not. We're Americans. If we don't want it, we're not taking it. So the government is seeing this and are making, as we're voting more Republicans and more conservatives, getting the communists out, they're going, fuck, we're not going to put up for this shit. So that's what you got. Japan's military is gladly getting involved. All of a sudden, Japan is getting into the war against China. They're buying missiles from the U.S., from Northrop and Raytheon, that can hit in China. So now here comes Japan again to fight China. I don't know where they're getting money to pay for it because their money's gone, but they are getting more and more missiles that are long range that can do damage in China. I always get confused. First, Japan's really strong, then it's China's really strong, but they're never strong together. So when Japan was strong, China wasn't. When now China's strong, Japan isn't. So it's really strange. I was watching movies. What was I watching? Something in the late 80s. And it was about all the products come from Japan, not China. And I was watching Other People's Money with Danny DeVito. It's an interesting finance movie, probably the late 80s, early 90s. And it's simple economics. It's you value your assets. So if your assets are worth 20 and your stock price is worth 10, you buy the company at 10, you sell the assets at 20 and you make $10 a share. It's a no-brainer, assuming you can sell it. And then there was no lawsuits, no pollution. So that's why he buys this company. And it was interesting to see Gregory Peck own the company. And I kept saying, when's he going to go to the Guns of Navarone? It's funny how these guys get so typecasted. I see Gregory Peck. I'm going guns in Navarone. He needs to go and blow up the guns. What's he doing at a wireless building? And then if he's so smart, why isn't he evolving from that? And they ended up going to airbags. Well, why didn't he see that and get involved with airbags? Why did he need this guy to buy him out to say, well, we're going to put your company in airbags? Bobby Bow, it's so tempting to load up on more metals, but need to keep some cash as I want some rental property. But boy, you're really property, but want more assets, so it's a tough balance at times. What do you think? As I respect the well, that's exactly what I'm doing and I'm going through, right? So, I mean, now I'm not working, so I get money for Social Security. I have money in my 401k and I got money in my safe, and I'm doing the same thing. It's what I'm trying to do is bridge. I'm trying to say, how long is it going to take gold to finally go to where it needs to go? Right? When does gold hit 30, 40,000? More importantly, when does silver hit 1,000, 2,000? And so I'm bridging the gap. So Social Security initially is I can pay the rent and food. And if I can't afford the girls, I won't pay them. But as long as I have money, they're eating, right? I'm not going to not help the girls out. So my gal in Russia, my girl in the Ukraine. And that's really the issue. So it's how long is it going to take? And then what is your revenue? So Bobby, let's say you need $5,000 a month to pay your mortgage and to pay your car and your gas and your food and all your bills, right? So let's even leave a year out, $60,000. That's going to pay for a year. Now, what revenue sources do you have? Are you getting dividends? Are you getting stock? I mean, where are you getting revenue from? This rental property, whatever. And that's what you got to figure out. See, I'm not really out. The only revenue I'm getting right now is the Social Security. I'm going to do unemployment when we're done here. I was going to do it this weekend. It was so frustrating. Then I had no power, and I wasn't going to do it on my phone. It's too small. So I was waiting for my computer so I can finally do it tonight. I'll either do it now or I'll do it after swim. But you know how you get into a mood, then you don't get into a mood. You're like, I don't feel like it. So that's where I'm at. So what you got to figure out, Bobby, is your revenue. What are you getting in? If it's rental property and you're getting rent, then that's okay. You probably want a good 8 or 9 months of money that if you don't get any revenue in, you need to buy time till your silver goes up in value. That's what you're balancing. The thing is, all right, I have the gold, but I don't want to sell it at $1,900 an ounce. I have the silver, but I don't want to sell it at $21, $22 an ounce. Now at $1,000 an ounce, I can sell 20 of them and get 20 grand. And then then I'm all done. Then I'm on a beach somewhere with Jenna or Daria, whatever. I'm with the girls on a beach somewhere. And that's the retirement. So that's my IRA retirement, and that's my pension, and that's my life insurance all rolled into gold. So I need enough money now until the gold and silver finally get released by JP Morgan and finally go up in value. We assume it'll happen soon. We assume it'll happen this year, but we don't know it. So that's the unknown is how long do I have to wait until it goes up? I have no worries it's going up. It's how long do I have to wait? And I'm going to need JP Morgan to finally say, fuck it, or something where they finally blow it up. And then gold and silver finally hit their real values, which we know there is no market for physical gold. That's what they are trying to do. But now what do we see? I just read that the EU is just told the sanctions. They said, fuck it, we're getting away from the sanctions. It's only the U.S. with the sanctions. So now the NATO is just U.S. All the Europeans said, fuck you, and they're not sanctioning Russia. Well, right there is huge, because if they all go and vote for, if they all vote with the BRICS countries, and they're going to want gold and silver to go through the roof, because they need the value of gold and silver to go up if you're having a gold-backed currency, which is what they're going to. That's 100% sure. Then that'll speed it up even more. So it wouldn't be surprised if they start joining the BRICS, because what the fuck, they don't want to be with the U.S. because really the U.S. is with China, and the U.S. is making a lot of enemies because they're communist, and they don't want to work with people. They want to work alone. The U.S. This whole Biden thing makes me sick. I mean, that's my question. Why are we blowing ourselves up on purpose? Because who does it benefit? It benefits China, which means it benefits Biden. That's why Biden's letting all these people in through Mexico, because he gets paid for it. That's why he's blowing up our dollar, because it benefits China and probably Russia too. So he's in a two-faced war where he's really fighting Russia and at the same time not fighting Russia. Believe me, they're paying Putin, or Putin's paying him, whatever it is. I do not buy that the U.S. and Russia are involved. So that's what we're waiting for, is something that makes the gold go on a physical exchange and makes the BRICS currency backed by gold out. Once that is, everything goes up. And that's going to be soon, but I can't give you a date because I don't have a fucking clue. It's going to be September 1st. All I know is it's going to happen. See, what everybody's getting frustrated with is these guys that said, well, here's inflation, buy gold and silver. And this is back in 2008, 2012. And the problem is that rationale worked, but because JP Morgan price fixes and there's no physical market, that's the theory was perfect. And that's what should happen in inflation, because you're devaluing the dollar, more dollars to buy the gold. So the gold has to go up in terms of dollars. So you've ruined the value of the dollars. So why isn't gold going up when Orioles are going up? I mean, that's really the question that is asked, is why that. So these guys, how long did it take me to figure out paper gold, physical gold? What, 20 minutes? But I'm an INFJ, so that's how I think. I look going, something doesn't make sense here. And then I could easily see, well, there is no physical market. It's a paper market. So therefore, what do I say every day? Don't look at this price. This is the price in paper, but we don't give a fuck because we buy the physical gold. We're buying the coin, so we don't care about the paper price. So when we see 1850 paper, we don't care. It's a fantasy price. It's being manipulated. The real price, I'm saying, is $20,000. And that's where I'm getting it from, because you can't look at the 1800 and say, well, that's where it'll hit 2100. That whole theory is out the window. That doesn't make any sense. That's like how I blew up the Philadelphia defense. It's not a good defense. Against Green Bay and Dallas, they gave up 40 points. Against the fucking Giants in Washington, they good, and they played Indy, Jacksonville, Tennessee, and Houston, 4 other teams that don't score. So against these terrible teams with no offenses, they look like a good defense. So I blew it up. I said, no, they didn't play anybody. 2 teams, Green Bay and Dallas with Prescott, and they lit them up. They don't have a great defense, so we go over. That's what I'm doing here. No, it's all derivative. So the 1800 is not a real price. It's like it's all manipulated. So you have to stop looking at 1800 as the price of gold. However, we can take advantage of it because we can buy it at this low price, because we know the real price is much higher because it's being held down by JP Morgan. So if we know it's being held down, we come in and take advantage of a situation where gold's 30, 40,000 an ounce, silver's 1,000 at least, but I think 2, if not more. And so we're jumping on it at 25. I mean, so let's go back to Bobby now. So I don't know what Bobby has in the bank. I don't know what his expenses are. I would say, Bobby, you want about 9 months of expenses, provided you don't have any income coming in. So if you have cash flow coming in, looks like you do rental property. So if you have any type of income coming in, then, and you think it's still going to come in, is the key question. Do you think it's going away? Do you think once the shit hits the fan and you got rental income, you're not going to get the rental income because they're not going to have the money to give you? How salient are the people that they'll be able to keep giving you the money? That's your other question. Now, the inflation. So you're battling that your money you have is getting inflated. The revenue you're getting, maybe you're not going to get if it's revenue based. And then it's the risk of the gold and silver going higher. So you might be forced to take a little bit of your money that you're saving and buy more gold and silver with it, with the thought of, if I run into a problem with cash flow where my expenses go up because food and gas go up, or, I'll save 6 months, but then here's 6 months and oops, I don't have any more money, but I need to pay my bills. Then you can walk your gold back to the coin store, even though it hasn't gone up yet, and get money for the month. So that's your point. You can still buy more with the intent of, you're not going to lose on it, right? You're going to lose on premium, but in silver, it doesn't matter. So silver is 21, you buy it for 25. Okay, now you got to sell it back because you need the money and it hasn't gone up yet. You lose $4 an ounce. Who gives a fuck? However, if it starts going to 500-600, like the guy said, 666, well, you made what? Like 5,000%? Because remember, 100% of 25 is 50. So 200% is 75, 300% is 100. So if it goes to 500, 300 times 5 is 15,000. That's your return on investment. So it's probably a pretty good return. So I would recommend trying to buy a chunk more silver with the thought of, even if it doesn't go up, I can take it back to the gold store and get my money back. So you really have no risk there, because if it goes up, great. If it doesn't go up, you go back to the store and you get the money you need for the month. But you're really not spending money, right? All you're doing is trading this for, let's say, silver, right? Your $25 buys you silver. That, if I hold this is going to zero, right? So if I hold this is losing value. If I'm really buying silver with it, I'm really not spending the money. You're not going on a vacation spending $5,000 and now you don't have the $5,000 anymore. You are not spending the money. You are transferring it from here to silver. So if we follow the bouncing ball, I moved it into silver. Now silver either A, keeps its value because JP Morgan, or finally starts moving up. And then if I need my money for bills, I sell. And that's what we're really doing. The bottom line here is, all right, let's say silver hits 2,000 an ounce. So what I really did was bought 10 ounces for $250, and now it's 2,000 an ounce. It's worth 40,000. That's my investment. That's my safety security blanket. And I'm not going to sell all 20. I'm only going to sell what I need. I need $2,000. I'll sell 1 ounce. And that's really, we're going to sell it. It's at what point and what price are we selling it at? So what we're trying to do now is buy time to get it from today, $25 silver, to when tomorrow happens and it's 2,000 an ounce. That's what we're really trying to do. Now, yes, it's been 10 years. I don't believe you. And look at this. And yeah, but you don't see how bad your dollar's doing in the 10 years. That's the part that's missing. Nobody's really saying the value of the dollar is dropping. That's why I say 35 an ounce, and now it's 1,900 an ounce. And it's not gold going up, it's the dollar losing value. So the dollar's losing value, but they really can't show it. right? So at the end of the day, you want to get as much silver at this price as you can. So what is your cash flow, Bobby, if you don't mind me asking, or you can certainly email it to me if you want it uh, off the internet. Uh, let's see. So let's go back through. It is so tempting to load up on more. Well, that's because it's going to go up in value. But as I just said, you're transferring money into silver. You're not spending a nickel. So it's win-win all the way around. More metals, but need to keep some cash as I want some rental. Okay. Property, rental property, but want more assets. So it's tough balance. I would, if you don't have the rental property and you're thinking of buying it, just buy the silver. There's no way you'll make as much in rental properties you're going to make in silver. Plus, you got to worry about the renters, because a lot of people are going to be out of work. They're not going to be able to afford it. Plus, you got to worry about inflation, where what you paid for, it's not going to be worth anything. What do you think? Okay, that's a good point, Professor. How do we go about dividends? What dividends? Dividends in stock or dividends in gold? There are no dividends in gold, but there's no dividends in this. There's no dividends in this. You lose money every year with it. Right now, the inflation rate's what, 15 to 20%. So you're losing 15% of this every year right now. But there's no dividends in dollars. Keep in mind, you're buying money. This is not an investment, but be my guest if you want to buy stock. But do keep in mind, stocks are going to go down because people will need money. So you really don't have an option unless it's diamonds. As we see with the jewelry, you can't even go there because you're going to pay a lot more than it's worth. So if you were to buy this for $2,000, it's only worth $1,100 if you sell the gold. Now I'm going to check, if I sold you the whole piece, would you buy the whole piece of jewelry? I would think they would, as long as they can sell it. It's just inventory. It's not age. It's not like food where it's gone bad. I mean, I would imagine she's probably selling this for $2,500 or $3,000. She'll give me $1,100 for the gold. But if I sold the chain, how about if I sell you the chain as is? What would you give me, or is it better just to get the gold? And I'll ask her that question. So there are no dividends in gold and silver, but you know what you get? You get something worth $25 an ounce that goes up to $2,000 an ounce. Do you really need a fucking dividend? No. It's like betting a football game. We bet the Super Bowl. KC wins. We won. There's no dividend on it. It's a bet, and we won, just like gold and silver. The difference is we can easily get our bet back. If silver doesn't jump, we can still turn it back in and get our money out of the coin store. Versus the football bet, if it loses, we lose. We can't lose with gold and silver. There's no way you can lose in it. But I don't know what you're talking about with dividends. There are no dividends, but you're not looking at it properly. It's not a stock either. The only reason you're getting dividends in stock is they don't know what to do with their money. So a company, Microsoft makes $1 billion, and they don't know what to do with it. They don't have $1 billion to put it in, right? So they then start giving dividends, going, well, we only need $1 million, and we got $2 million, so the other $1 million we'll give back in dividends. And they want you to buy their stock because they want the equity. There was a big explosion in Moscow, which is good. I don't know who did it, but I think it was a rocket, so that's good. Ukrainian army hits Russian base, so that's good news. Another missile news. Here's our guy, but if we watched his Friday, all it was they're taking a short from what we watched and talking about it. So we already know if you watched it. If you didn't watch this Friday show, I think it was 112. Then there was So I showed you Bobby on. All right, so then our other guy came on, this guy, and I'm going to play you something that Bobby will like very much.
Stephen K. Bannon here. Look, 2023, now that we've hit the debt ceiling, is going to be absolutely writing. Where do they go?
Well, they go to GoMoney, research, it's GoMoney.com, hit the research tab, and you'll find my articles there. And I write an article published every Thursday.
Miles Franklin accepts payments by
point. Because I can just see Putin picking up the phone saying, you know, through our Chinese friends, we've just got rid of our last dollars. I recommend you do the same. What? I can see this. Oh, yeah, I'm dramatizing, but basically, we know what's going to happen. They have been tipped the wink, and it's just a question of time before they suddenly realize we've got to get out of the dollar. We've got to get out of the euro. We've got to get out of sterling. We've got to get out of yen. Thing is that there is no doubt at all that measured by CPI.
Okay, let's do a few minutes of our guy, Alistair.
And saying, and why hold your gold in Western vaults? It just makes no sense at all.
Putin's words.
So there were, I think, something like 81 nations officially attended that. I mean, obviously, all, Asian ones and Africans and a few Latin Americans, like, Brazil and so on and so forth. They got the message. I mean, it's quite clear. And with rising interest rates now, I think this is probably the tipping point. We're coming up to the tipping point. Because I can just see Putin picking up the phone saying,
no, it's Alistair.
Through our Chinese friends, we've just got rid of our last dollars. I recommend you do the same. What? I can see this. Oh, yeah, I'm dramatizing, but basically, we know what's going to happen. They have been tipped the wink, and it's just a question of time before they suddenly realize we've got to get out of the dollar. We've got to get out of the euro. We've got to get out of sterling. We've got to get out of yen because this is just not working. And at the same time, the other thing is that there is no doubt at all that Russia is moving towards a gold solution, a gold-backed solution to the currency issue. Just to refresh everybody's mind, at the beginning of last year, I think it was around about April, it was announced that Sergei Glaziev, who is a senior economist, Russian economist, was appointed to a new committee under the aegis of the Eurasian Economic Union, which incorporates Russia, Belarus, and also various stans were ex-Russian provinces, as it were, in the middle of Asia, to consider the construction of a new currency. And there have been various announcements along the way, and it's got refined down to a statement which Glaziev made. It wrote an article, actually, for a Russian business newspaper, published on the 27th of December, the day after the state-owned Sberbank came out with a gold-linked cryptocurrency, CBDC, sort of Monkey, if you like, saying effectively gold is the way forward. And this is the man, incidentally, who's spearheading the development of the expanded Moscow Gold Exchange. The messages are quite clear. And in my last article, which you'll pick up on the Gold Money website, writing about CBDCs, which I called CBDCs, the good, the bad, the ugly. Well, CBDCs are completely unnecessary for this currency, but, it's fashionable, I suppose, and it's, there's some talk that they will do this new currency as a central bank digital currency. Completely unnecessary. But in that article, I wrote how such a system could well be designed. And if I was Sergei Glaziev, that's the way I would do it. But basically, you get a new central bank, which issues a new currency, which is 40% backed by gold. And the way in which existing central banks become a party to this is that they submit their gold into this new central bank, which they needn't really do. I mean, all they need to do is if they've got it stored in a vault approved by the new central bank, then it just gets earmarked across for the new central bank, in return for which they will receive the new currency. It will be a gold substitute, if you like. The great thing about 40% is that you put in a let's say 1 million ounces, and you get the currency the equivalent of 2.5 million ounces back. So you can replace all your fiat currency reserves, no problem, immediately. And it's basically a currency which is independent of any currencies of the central banks which decide to join the scheme. And not only that, but you will find that the major banks in Asia, Chinese and Russians, and any bank really, can run credit balances in this new currency. It doesn't need to own the currency. And indeed, I recommend that they don't own the currency. I recommend that if they want gold cover to sort of prudentially cover their credit obligations, then they go into the market and acquire gold. We've got enough sellers in the West, for goodness sake, or at least apparently, if it hasn't all been leased out already, but anyway, it probably has. So, basically it's a trade finance system, and a lot of trade finance credit becomes self-extinguishing, in effect. So, it's easy. It really is easy. But as soon as we do that, then of course, not only do we use this currency for settlements, but the whole idea is to get rid of the dollar in Asia. Well, the answer is that every commodity exchange in Asia, all commodity transactions will be priced in gold, in the new gold currency. Simple. Very, very simple.
You've written this proposed hypothetical gold-backed currency scenario, this thought experiment, in a recent article. If people want to read that article and all your other writing, where do they go?
Well, they go to Gold Money Research.
So that was that. So he's saying it's all going to a gold-backed dollar, which makes the price of gold go through the roof, and silver with it. There's another one I was looking for. Where is that one? I think that was this one.
Last warning. If you do not get your $21,900 in health benefits this week.
None of this phony baloney, unallocated, bank certificate crapola. None of the ETF, is growing. But I think one of the things people continuously question, when the gold price, obviously we just described why the gold price. So we've got all these things going on, including probably we should be seeing a higher gold price. So based upon purely supply demand, with now 2/3 of the world starting to price commodities in gold grams, the price from a supply demand basis is going to rise. It has to, because you're now taking more supply from a finite supply. So what's that going to do to inflation around in the Western world, who relies on dollars, pounds, euros to buy the same commodities that they need, and they're being priced in a gold at a higher price? That's massive inflationary input.
Right. And again, on an even more base level, if everything is priced in dollars as it is now, and if the value of the dollar is falling, then that makes all those commodities go up as well. This gets to that discussion we were having earlier about the alternative being offered. Anything that siphons away demand for dollars, which is what that does, any kind of BRICS trading currency, gold back, whatever, strikes the petrodollar, that sort of thing. Anything that siphons away demand for dollars lessens the value. It's like any old, supply demand curve. If you took an economics class in college, we could be talking about oranges or lawnmowers or, anything, any good. You have where supply meets demand is where you find price. And what we're talking about here in terms of dollars in the bigger picture, if demand for dollars is falling because these alternatives being created,
Competition.
at the same time, supply of dollars is increasing due to all this, the ever-increasing amount of debt, and the dollars need to service the debt and to keep the plate spinning. You've got falling demand and increasing supply. The value, the market resets that value lower. It's like I said, anything. Like go to your hardware store. If all of a sudden there are way more hammers than there is demand of hammers,
Price
you're
drive.
going to mark the price of hammers down because they got to get rid of it. That's just economics 101. So as the value of that dollar
We teach
falls
economics
in years
501.
ahead, just because that simple supply demand curve, then that impacts everything as well. At the end of the day, Andy, what we're talking about is all these different semantical ways of trying to explain to people that gold's not going to stay at $1,800, and silver at $2,150 or whatever it is not going to be the price going forward for time immemorial. Now, again, people in the comments are going to say, yeah, well, silver was $48 in 2011, right? It's half of what. Fine, okay, right, sure, no doubt about it. But it was also 14 in 2015, so it's up from there. All of these things combined mean that going forward, prices are not going to remain at these levels. How far they go up, and how fast they go up, I have no idea. But for people that need to diversify, need to be starting to build positions out of dollars into something else, this is the time to be doing it on whichever platform, whichever form, however you want to do it. Just make sure you own physical metal, none of this phony, unallocated, bank certificate crapola. None of this ETF. I own gold, Andy. I own the GLD. No, you don't. You don't own Jack. Own physical metal, gold and silver. Have it either in your hands or at a trusted place where that you trust, and then you're prepared. Then you're prepared for all these things that we've been talking about.
Yeah, and so what you're saying essentially is it's going to cost you a hell of a lot more dollars to buy the same ounce of gold, the same ounce of silver as we go forward, as it will all other commodities as well. But again, gold has that extra push here where we've got already last year we had the central banks buy more gold than Nixon closed the gold window 50 years ago. So we've already seen that. And they must have known what they were going to launch on the 3rd of January, which was digitizing physical gold, putting it on the Stellar blockchain. Hey, guess who does that? They must be copying Kinesis.
And what happened for biggest central bank demand since 1968? What happened in 1968? I'm trying to remember. What was 1960? Oh, that's right. That was the end of the London gold pool. Right?
Exactly. Things happen.
Here we are, central banks. They were central banks are the ones involved in the London gold pool. They know what's going on, right? So if they're buying more gold now than they have in 50 some odd years, you might sit up and pay attention.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I think, Craig.
There you go. Now you take out of that whatever you want, but that's exactly what I say, except for it's Econ 501, not 101. But it's not supply and demand as much as it's demand. What he's saying is if there's a bunch of oranges, they mark them down to sell them all, but that's not the case in gold. There's not a bunch of gold extra that the price is going to drop. It's all derivative. So you have this once in a lifetime chance to buy these things very cheap. And they have to go up as that was whatchamacallit. That's Andrew McGuire. The first guy was Alistair McLeod, the bald guy. Egon is the Switzerland guy who talks with the Swiss accent. So what they're really saying is competition, which is what I keep saying. So what's the competition for this? It's gold and silver. So what you're looking to, if I get out of this, I go to gold and silver, which is what should make the price go through the roof, which is the whole concept that I keep teaching day in and day out, just so you can relax going, well, the professor says that. And then that's how I teach it to the girl at swim, or there's a couple of supervisors that I talk to on it. And I don't get any bad. Only the communists don't want gold and silver. I love how the guy, so if I played this video, the communists would ignore it. I don't think he would understand what competition is or the fact this is going to zero. I don't think the communists would believe this is going to zero. I don't know what in God's name would make the communists not listen or think, it clearly shows they have no clue why something goes out of value or loses value. And so they just think, well, the dollar has always been there. It'll be there no matter what. No problem. This is what'll happen. And that's what we got. So it's just fucking crazy how people don't know. And this is what I keep thinking about. People don't know, but they think they know, or they listen to the wrong person, which is what I try to have you avoid. So you don't know, and you're going to say, well, I'm going to learn. Okay, how do I learn? Well, I can get on YouTube and listen to Professor. I can listen to these other morons. I can read a book. But you got to read the right person, and you got to listen to the right person. And that's what I keep saying. Don't listen to the Keynesians. Don't listen to the MMT people who think we'll just keep printing money because it's already proven wrong. Since Roman times, you can't just keep printing money. That's why you bring in the examples. Say, look what happened to the Romans. I guarantee you they didn't think they were going out. I'm sure the 70s Steelers didn't think they were going out, or the 89ers, until they lost Montana, until they lost Bradshaw, until they, what happened, until the Romans lost Caesar. They think they're fine. They just don't know why, but they think, well, nothing can happen to us. We're Rome. And that's really the problem. So with that said, as he said, that your competition's gold and silver. All the central banks are buying gold and silver. The demand is way up. The price has to come up once JP Morgan, again, you would think he'd make more money buying the gold cheap. Well, that's probably what he's doing. So in my mind, the JP Morgan, the Madoffs, and all the crooks in America are keeping the price low to buy it because they know where it's headed, right? They know all the central banks are buying it. They know Russia, China are going to do this whole BRICS dollar thing. And now if the NATO is broken up and all these European countries want to join BRICS, which would be my guess of the next thing they're doing, we're not in NATO anymore, so fuck it, let's join BRICS because we don't want to be hamstrung to the U.S. dollar. Everybody's hating the U.S. dollar. You just got to understand and realize, wait a minute, this isn't the place to be. So when you realize all that, then gold and silver have to go up. So my point would be they're keeping it low to buy it out. And eventually there won't be any more to buy. There'll be no point in keeping the price low, and then it'll really shoot. So when does that happen? When it runs out, pretty soon. I know JP Morgan's got I think he's got $1 billion in silver, Bobby, just to make you feel better. When the crook has silver, then that it's going to have a value. So buy as much as you can. I was disappointed. I was going to buy some Saturday, but I ended up buying the gold. I really wanted, I don't like that I got kind of, in my mind, screwed on the thing. I'll have to double check the whole thing with the, I'll have to double check the whole thing just to see what, why I lost on the bracelet. Why did I lose the value? That I don't like, because I would have bought a half ounce in 20 silvers, but he didn't have 20 silvers to buy. Now I could have bought the Eagle. He always has the $35 Eagles because nobody wants to buy it. And there's no reason to buy it. So I'm going to double check that for tomorrow. This whole carat thing, and then make sure the dollars, whatever it is, that's it. There's no carats. So in one sense, I'm kind of glad I sold my jewelry to get the carats, to get the understanding of the carats. So now I would not recommend jewelry. You're going to lose your ass in jewelry because you're going to pay for the non-silver and the labor and the markup. If you buy a 1 ounce, eagle, and the spot's 1850 and they sell it to you for 1970. That's kind of in there. That's kind of the labor and the markup is kind of why you pay more. But that's it. But when you buy the jewelry, you're really buying the labor and the non-gold and everything else. It's what can you sell it for? So maybe I can get more if I sell the necklace as the necklace as opposed to selling it for the gold, right? So I'm in the coins, it's just gold, right? Here's a gold Cougaran, boom. What's the spot? Boom. Okay, give it to me. Or go on eBay and sell it on eBay and get more money for it, but I got to wait a little bit. Or have a shorter auction, right? So that's the difference. So it's more convenient to go to the gold store and it gives you spot instead of premium. So keep that in mind. Where on eBay you would get the premium. So anyway, that's what's happening. So I got to make sure on these carats. So I don't want you to buy the jewelry and spend $2,000 and then only get $1,200 when you're ready to sell it for the gold. If you're buying the gold necklace for the gold. If you're buying it as a necklace, then I'm going to check and see if we can sell it back as a necklace. I'm not sure, but we can. Then that'll be another option. But I think we're still better off with just the gold coins and silver coins. And again, don't play with the ETFs. They're not real gold. You're not going to get it out, as he said. It's a scam, that it's a Ponzi scheme that you think you're buying gold, but you're not. So why would you want to buy it? It's not real value. So keep that in mind. The draft combine, we'll keep going on that. Is there any questions, comments that I was touching that you want me to go back to? Please let me know. That's why I do it live. Just keep in mind it's a class. And my intention isn't to silent people. Really, all I'm doing is hiding them so they can't type. They can still watch, but they can't type because of what they say has got no value added in the class. So it's like the loud kid in class. You tell them to go, go in the corner, go sit in the principal's office. You're disturbing the class. That's kind of what I'm doing. It's the loud kid who is clueless to what's going on here. Anyway, so I will report. I'm going to go to the jewelers right now, and I will report back, and we will see. But I think it's it's carats versus the spot. I don't think coins are carats. I think they're just metal. And I think all the coins are probably 999 or 966 or something. Like I saw the Cougarans, I think 917 or something like that. But it's still priced in spot. I don't think that's an issue. We'll figure it out. I'm not worried about it. You lose a few dollars, nothing. Not like 18 karat gold where they're actually changing the spot from 1800 to 18 karat price. I mean, what the fuck is that? That doesn't make any sense to me. So maybe it's the way it's made. I don't know. There's less gold in it, so they charge 1800, but then aren't you taking that off the weight? So I got to really figure that out. Anyway, I'll go there, and that's about it. Time for a little dinner, and then off to the jewelers and off to the swim, and we will see. What else? So the draft we talked about, again, running quarterbacks don't do anything. They've never done anything. They never will, because not in pro football, it doesn't help you. College, you can win a few games with it. At the end of the day, Georgia win. The team with the defense wins everything. Basketball, we'll be using my numbers to look at the brackets. We'll test it on a few conferences in their conference tournaments, and then we'll go from there. What else? So that's it. We'll get the draft, gold and the silver. We've covered dividends. I don't know what you want on that, Bobby. How do we go about dividends? You don't get dividends on gold and silver, only on stocks. It's a stock thing. If you want dividends, then buy Coca-Cola stock. Although Coke, I saw a price. I was at the grocery store yesterday. Pepsi was $2.99 at the higher end where I get my meat. They were $2.99. Coke was $3.49. Now, if I go to the other grocery stores, I got to see if they took this big price increase. If they did, I'd buy Pepsi, not Coke, because it's the same to me. We can use the competition. Coke and Pepsi compete. If it's cheaper, I'm going to buy the cheaper stuff. It's the same fucking thing. So as he's saying, so when there's a ton of Coke left over because of the price increase, then they'll put it on sale. Again, we're the market. We control the prices. If we don't buy something, they lower the prices because it's all about selling your inventory. And, you're making all this stuff. So if you make Coke, you're making it for sales. And if nobody's buying because your price is too high, they have to lower the price to get the sales because everybody's buying Pepsi. I don't know who's loyal to Coke unless it's a political thing, which I don't like it because of the political. I tend to go to Pepsi now. So anyway, that's what's happening. I'll go do my unemployment after swim, I think. The library's open until 9. So I think I'll eat. I'll go. The jeweler should be 10 minutes. Swim and then go to the library. Unemployment probably should only take me about a half hour. Now it's much better. Before you had to go in and find the federal ID number of the place you work. Now you go in and they've got you so tracked. They go, oh, we know where you worked, and then you just punch in the dates, and then but I'm terminated without cause, which means they let me go, but it's not like I did anything wrong or bad or illegal. I just they changed the way of what they wanted from me. They didn't want to use my skill. They wanted an idiot, and that's fine, but that wasn't for me. So again, your term, but there's no cause, so you get your unemployment. I'm just looking to get 4 or 5 months so I can help the girls and pay my credit cards till the credit cards go to zero. That's what I'm waiting for. Credit cards go to zero. I'll be able to help the girls. And then I keep telling you, once gold and silver goes up, then everything will really boom. What else? I think that's about it. So we'll get ready for basketball. Bobby, stocks have to go up for us to recover a dividend, correct? No, that's not true. Stocks do not have to go up. The dividend is based on shares. So we use Coca-Cola. You buy 1,000 shares of Coke, the dividend is, let's say, $2 a share. You get that regardless. You get that dividend regardless of whatever the stock price is. It's by share. So if you own 1,000 shares and it's $1 a share, you're going to get 1,000 times $1 dividend, but it'll be quarterly. So it'll each quarter. So it's 1,000 shares times $1 is $10,000. You're going to get 2,500 each quarter and 10,000 for the year. That's what it is. It's got nothing to do with earnings. If the stock goes up or down, doesn't matter. The percentage will go up. So if the stock drops, you'll get a higher percent of the dividend because it's fixed in dollars. If the stock goes up, it doesn't matter. The only concern is if the stock starts tanking and then they take away the dividend, they say, no, we're not going to do like Ford. Ford probably doesn't have a dividend because their financials are so bad that I can't see them having one. Now, does Tesla have a dividend? I don't know, but I'd rather be in Coca-Cola or Pepsi's dividend, whichever is the bigger one. But it doesn't matter about the stock price as long as they're issuing the dividend. When it's the date, you then you get 3 or 4% of that. The gold stocks are starting to have dividends, but they're not that strong. So I would recommend Coke. I mean, they used to have a 3 or 4% dividend. Well, I would look at the dividends first, and it's got to be a combination. It's safe and high. So Coke gives you 4 and Pepsi gives you 3. I'd rather be in Coke, and I'd rather get 4%. If Tesla gives you 10%, then I'd rather be in Tesla. But then you got to look at the price, and nobody wants electric cars, and their sales are going to drop, and they might take away the dividend. They probably don't even have dividends, Tesla. So it's a more mature company that does, but you want to stay in Coke and Pepsi because of the inflation. You don't want to be in Ford and GM because they're not going to make sales, and they're more than likely to take away the dividends or lower them from 4% to 2% because we can't afford it because nobody's buying our fucking cars because interest rates are really high and we're pushing electric cars that nobody wants. So I always remember Say's Law. Demand, well, I want a blue shirt, you make it. Not the other way around. I'm going to make blue shirts and hope people want it. It's, I want a blue shirt, then let's see who makes them, and that's where we go. So electric cars, nobody wants it. Don't get involved with that. That's not Say's Law. Say's Law is here's the demand, and then they supply it. And then we figure out a market for it. That's the difference. So don't get confused by that. Don't get into products there's no demand for. That's the stocks that are going out. That's what's called the male investments. They make it because the price is cheap or the interest rate's low or the money's easy to borrow, and they just build something to build something, but there's no demand for it. There must be demand to make the product, and then you got it, but you can't, then we get into the next phase, which is the ribs, selling them at $40, but the market's 25, or the Camry's 30, but the market's 25. That's the next phase is, all right, we know people want Camrys. Here's the market. That's what we need to sell them at. Oh, wait, we need to sell them here. That's how the stock goes down because they can't sell it. So keep that in mind. Those are the two critical things about investing that you really need to understand. There's got to be, you want to open up a store, you want to buy the stock. Either way, it needs demand. And, I was watching for like 10 minutes while I didn't have internet. I stumbled on Pawn Stars, which I hate that show. And what Pawn Stars is sort of like baseball cards. You're trying to guess what the market is. So he got something in from, I don't know. It was guitar. It was a Batman and Joker guitar from this guy who makes high-end guitars, made a high-end. So the guy doesn't know what the market is. That's the whole show. What is the market? So he calls up his buddy. This is where this is where it's all made off. Pawn Stars is made off because he doesn't know what the price is. So he doesn't know what to pay the guy. Even if the guy knows, so he goes on eBay, looks Batman and Robin, or Batman and Joker's, buy Joe Blow guitars, high end. As I pointed out in the Michael Jordan cards, there's many different markets because each auction has a different price. So you get 1,000 for the Jordan, you can get 800 or 600 for it. Which is the market? You don't know. With these guitars, why would you take it to a pawn shop? I would at least go on eBay and see what they sold for. So you got to be out of your mind to take it to a pawn shop who's going to give you 50% of the value. And then when he calls his buddy, that's a scam because if Bobby calls me, and I know Bobby wants to buy because I know that's what he's in, and he's only going to call me when he got a customer comes in, and I know the Jordan card's 1,000. What am I going to tell him? Yeah, Bobby, I'm going to say 500. And then the guy hears, and the guy says, "Oh fuck, I can only get 500 for it." Bobby gives him 400 for $1,000 card. That's the gimmick. That's the problem with Pawn Stars or any of these where they call in the friends. They're not going to give you the true price, and it's going to be way under, and you're going to get fucked because it's not. There's multiple markets for that. So if I brought in, like I said, if I brought in the Jordan card, the one that's the top's finest Jordan card that I've seen auctions of 700, 800, and 1,000. He's not going to give me the 1,000. He's going to give me the 800. And again, these are probably items not on eBay. That's why they're probably there. And I will close with this one as long as we're talking this. So I'm getting my half ounce of gold Saturday. And, okay, it cost me a few hundred, which it's worthless dollars. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'd rather have the half ounce of gold than the ring and the bracelet. Okay. Maybe I could sell the bracelet. Okay. Maybe I'd get an extra 100 or two, whatever. It's not worth it. So, and this is a jewelry store too. The coin store is a jewelry store. It's a coin store. So there's a guy in it and he says something about a Jordan rookie card. He says, "Oh, I saw one for 5,000." And I says, "That's impossible. The Jordan rookie card's $1.5 million, not 5,000. You're not getting a PSA 10 Jordan 86 Flair rookie card for $5,000. And then he kind of says, "Oh, it was I don't know what I think it was a PSA 6 or PSA 7. And I'm thinking, maybe a 6, maybe a 5. Why would you buy a PSA 5 or 6 Jordan for 5,000 that goes for $1.5 million? You got to be out of your mind. You want to, you don't need the Jordan rookie 5. Nobody wants that. They want the 10, at worst the 9. So I could see buying a 9, but I don't know what that's selling for." So then he starts talking about pale box kids or whatever. And, and I'm like, hey, I opened up a bunch of Marvel cards that I thought were worth $10, and the Spider-Man and the X-Men and all that, they're all worth $1,500. So, PSA 10 them. And then so my daughter has Pokemon cards, and they're worth thousands of dollars, not, what we thought. But that's got to be PSA 10. If they're not PSA 10, they don't have a value. And so I was educating him on cards. So $5,000 for a Jordan rookie, you got to be out of your fucking mind. There's only one rookie. It's in Flair. It's all off center. You're lucky if the corners are solid. But to find a 10, there could be more than 25 of them. And demand for Jordan rookie cards, supply of PSA 10s, price $1.5 million. That's where you get it from. So it really matters what the card is, but that's where the demand is. And I think that's why when I tell Nick or you guys about get the Mahomes or the Burrow card, is because that's where the demand will be. Now the demand for Mahomes is huge. That's why I say don't buy it now. Buy the Burrow card now, but he hasn't won 2 Super Bowls. So you really want to buy the Mahomes because, as you can see, Marino never won a Super Bowl and his card has no value. So you want Brady's because his card has huge value. Montana, Rice, the demand's there. Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, Bobby Bo, they have the demand there. That's why the price is high. But if you look at Joe Smith in the 65 tops, PSA 10, he's worth $80 because there's no demand. So you want the things that they're demanded. That's where the price goes. That's why gold and silver, we're all like, why isn't the price going up? Because we know the demand's there because they're ruining the dollar. So my point is they're ruining the dollar on purpose, which is why, but they're holding gold and silver down. So it's a JP Morgan going, oh, we're going to just keep buying it at this price, which is why I tell Bobby and everybody, buy it as much as you can because this price will run out and then it'll go to what it should be. And everybody will want the real price. JP Morgan, China, Russia will want the 50,000 ounce price, not this 1,900 ounce. So that's what happened at the card show or at the coin store was him say, "Oh, I got a $5,000 Jordan," And I immediately said, no, you did not a good one. You might have got one, but it was not a well-graded card. And then so I kind of forced the guy to admit, yeah, it was probably a PSA 6. Yeah, I bet it was. I know it wasn't a PSA 10. So that's what you got. Well, we were talking about graded coins. Like, should I get a graded coin? And I like, no, a 1920 Liberty head or something. And I'm saying, well, you could get that, but what's the demand for the coin? So just because these coins are rare or MS70s, do you have the demand? And that's why it's like, don't fuck around. Just buy the gold and silver. We know what the demand for just gold and silver is. As far as a certain coin, we don't know the demand for the coin. So it was a 1915 Mercury dime. Is the demand here or is the demand here? No demand, there's no price, even if it's a 70 or a 69. But if there's huge demand, so you got to find the coins that are huge demand and then guess if they're going to go up. The difference is, at least if I have an MS70, which is the highest grade, that's a PSA 10 in coins. If I have that, if I have a Liberty dollar gold, at least, okay, and I bought it for 10 grand, at least I have it, right? I have the coin, right? The Bitcoin, what do I have? I mean, if they would have come out and printed the Bitcoins that they have, fine. I could maybe make a stronger case for it, but okay, it's got blockchain. Who gives a fuck? What does that have to do with the price? It doesn't make the value any stronger. It doesn't make the demand for Bitcoin any stronger because it's not money. It's not diamonds. It's not a painting. It's not gold. It's not a mantle card. So what do I have with Bitcoin? I got competition for Bitcoin. I pull out a mantle card. You got Bitcoin. Who wins? Because there's demand for the mantle card. Is there demand for Bitcoin? Well, it's got blockchain. That doesn't give it demand. That's how they use it. Fine. How does a bank use a debit card and a credit card? That doesn't make the value of the dollar go up because we can use a credit card or a debit. I can go get a debit card. I can go eat dinner with a debit card. That doesn't mean that the money's worth more because I'm using blockchain or whatever. So probably tomorrow I'm going to get ribs because it's my birthdays and I wants the presses. So I'll probably do that. And then I might go play poker tomorrow. I might go celebrate because it's my birthday. I made another one. So it's tough for the girls because they want to get me a present, but what are they going to do? They don't have money. So I usually ask for pictures or something. I said, well, we'll celebrate it when we meet. So I'm probably going to Spain I looked at prices yesterday. I can fly the end of March till the beginning of April, like 9 or 10 days for $800. Now I just got to find the city. Do I want to go to Madrid? Do I want to go to Barcelona? Do I want to go to Ibiza? Do I want to go to the bank where the Money Heist team stole the gold? I probably want to visit there and go down and see the vault and see if I can take a few bars. So I don't know where I want to go. And that's the problem without my internet. I really haven't been able to scan around, but the prices I should be able to get about $900, which to me, to go to Europe for $900 is cheap. So I'm fine with that. And then I read where you can exchange your money at the airport, but that's not the same as ATM. So in other words, if I have $500 US, what they're saying is they're not taking US dollars in the exchange. However, I can still go to the ATM with my debit card and say, give me 500 euros and I should be able to get the 500. I don't know why the ATM wouldn't work in Spain. I'm sure they work. It's just the money exchange. So you got to understand the difference. So one, I'm actually taking 500, give me euros. The other one, going to an ATM, here's my card, give me 500. Now, if that doesn't work, I'll have to find another country or go back to Amsterdam or somewhere because then that is a problem. But I don't usually exchange my money. I take the ATM. So if you go to Europe, get out go to the ATM and ask for 500 euro, and they'll charge you, like 10 cents more for the euro, and then a little rate, to change it. So it's a few dollars, but then and it's only if you need the money. As long as they'll take your debit card and your credit card, you don't really need the money, because what's the point? So when you go to eat, well, you've already paid for the hotel. So if you get food at the hotel, so if you got your breakfast, you just charge the room, and then you've paid with the credit card at the end. So it's the taxi, and then dinner, and then shopping, and shopping's going to take credit cards, and the dinners are mostly going to take credit cards. It's the taxi where you might need the euros, like in Portugal. That would be the only thing I needed money for, and we took a lot of taxis, so I went through that. But otherwise, you don't really, you shouldn't really need a lot of cash, just credit cards and debit cards for cabs, dinners, movie, that. If we go to the beach, you might need cash for that. But they're probably, you get those little pillow thing, little beds on the beach, and you just pay with that. But I got to find where the beaches are in Spain versus like in Madrid. Is it a half-hour drive to the beach or what? And then getting the cab back. That's the problem. So we will see, but that's part of what we want there too. All right. I guess that's it. Have a nice day, everybody. I will go to the jewelers now and get that answer about what the fuck is the second charge for the no, I'm having another for the gram ounce the carats. So for the carats, why the fuck? And then, but we don't use carats for coins, which I don't believe. So I believe an ounce of gold is going to get you an ounce of gold. A half ounce of gold is going to get you the spot at a half ounce. But I will ask, well, why is a half ounce still spot? But if I get the bracelet, why is that? Why do I get a new gold price for that? So let me ask that. All right, everybody. Have a good day. Have a great night. I will talk to you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. And www.teaserking.com. All right. Take care.